Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, or a Revival, Awakening the God-Killing Spear at the Beginning. Chapter 101. I can feel the horror of this attack. Those wounds prevent me from healing on my own, Shangguan Shaoshan said in a deep voice. He looked at Chu Yi. His own aura was extremely weak. I hope you can become my granddaughter Shangguan Lingwei's guardian. Although she is powerful, she is too arrogant and arrogant. Please. As soon as Shangguan Shaoshan's voice fell, his life breath began to drain away until he finally passed away. Alas, Chu Yi sighed deeply. He did not expect such a request, which made him feel entangled. Shangguan Lingwei needs protection. What an international joke. Shangguan Lingwei is a rank 9 superpower. However, Chu Yi decided to take Mr. Shangguan's instructions into his heart. If nothing else, the fact that Mr. Shangguan gave his life to protect Yanjing City will always be engraved in Chu Yi's heart. As for answering or not, there is basically no difference. This woman, Shangguan Lingwei, was so strong that she didn't need anyone else's protection at all. Mr. Shangguan is obviously worried too much. Then Chu Yi walked out of Mr. Shangguan's room and came to the hall. Shangguan Lingwei's eyes were slightly red, and her heart was filled with sadness of her grandfather's death. Chu Yi looked at her, filled with emotion in his heart, and said, I didn't expect that a person as high as you would be sad. It's really unbelievable. Of course, I am also a human being, and I also have relatives whom I love deeply. Of course I will be sad when my grandfather passes away. Shangguan Lingwei couldn't help but murmured. Chu Yi stared at her deeply and said, everyone has relatives, but when you regard those civilians as ants, have you ever thought that they are also human beings and they also have deeply loved relatives? Shangguan Lingwei was speechless, her heart was in chaos. At this moment, Anna rushed into the room like a bolt of lightning, her eyes full of anxiety. She stood in front of Chu Yi with an anxious look on her face. Chu Yi, it's bad, Yanjing City has been attacked again, they are killing ordinary civilians. Her voice was trembling. Let's go, I want to see with my own eyes who dares to be so lawless. When Chu Yi heard the news, the flames of anger suddenly ignited, his eyes flashed with determination, and his voice was full of determination and anger, like a thunderbolt exploded in the dark. An hour later, the sight in front of me was chilling. Countless humanoid robots were swarming on the streets of Yanjing City. Armed with a variety of murderous weapons, they ruthlessly rampage through the streets, killing innocent people. Those ordinary citizens have become prey in the hands of robots, and they face the arrival of these robots helplessly. Blood was spilled on the scene, and the streets were filled with the smell of death. These hateful robots, they are so cruel. Chu Yi was furious, and the god-killing spear instantly appeared, preparing for a fierce duel with the enemy. Primordial Origin Clone. Chu Yi launched the Primordial Origin Clone, and 9 figures appeared around him instantly. God-killing spear technique. Primordial Origin Wuji style. 9 clones of Chu Yi simultaneously waved the god-killing spear, releasing the ultimate marksmanship in the god-killing spear technique, Primordial Origin Wuji style. As a result, countless gun shadows intertwined in the sky over Yanjing City, mercilessly killing the invading humanoid robots. These humanoid robots were too weak. Chu Yizhou's Primordial Origin clone took action and wiped them all out in less than 10 minutes. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A powerful energy wave appeared in the sky, which made Chu Yi feel very familiar. That's exactly the energy released by the weapons on the starship. In an instant, a white wave of terrifying energy struck towards Yanjing City. When Chu Yi saw this, he immediately turned into a bolt of lightning without hesitation, blocking the terrifying light wave. Swallow. Devour it. Chu Yi shouted through gritted teeth. Powerful energy surged throughout his body, trying his best to swallow up this light wave. Although this process was extremely slow, Chu Yi did not flinch at all. A full hour passed, and finally, this light wave was completely swallowed by Chu Yi. At this moment, Chu Yi was filled with pure energy like white clouds, gathering on him. Chu Yi felt it was the power of cosmic spiritual energy, and it was also mixed with all kinds of weird energy. What's even more strange is that Chu Yi's realm has broken through again, entering the middle stage of rank 9, and his strength has been enhanced again. I didn't expect that just swallowing a spiritual light wave would allow me to further break through the realm. It's really amazing. Chu Yi was extremely happy in his heart. Chu Yi can feel at this moment that as long as he reaches the peak of rank 9, he will undergo a transformation. This may be the result of Blue Star breaking the seal, the transformation period above rank 9. But what kind of realm is hidden after the transformation period, Chu Yi has no way of knowing. At this moment, near Blue Star, in the boundless space, a magnificent interstellar battleship stood proudly, its majestic figure looking particularly spectacular in the darkness. The surrounding stars are dotted with countless stars, like twinkling gems, outlining a magnificent picture of the universe. How is this possible? How is it possible that this planet has so many rank 9 superpowers? A furious voice suddenly sounded in the starship command room. Captain Punias, please calm down. As long as we launch it again, we will definitely be able to kill that superpower. One of his subordinates said quickly. What did you say? Punias's anger boiled more and more when he heard these words. Have you ever thought about how much spiritual energy this gamma ray will consume? Have you ever thought about it? Quote. At this time, in a corner of Yanjing City, Chu Yi stared at a certain direction in the sky, frowning slightly, as if he was thinking about something important. He turned to Anna beside him and asked, Are you fast enough? Anna's eyes blinked slightly, and she said with a puzzled look on her face, What do you mean? Chu Yi explained again, I already know the people who attacked Yanjing City. They are in space. We have to chase them. Anna asked in surprise. In space, you mean aliens? Chu Yi nodded and said firmly, That's right, so I ask you if your speed is fast enough. Anna said confidently, Of course. Since integrating the black light core, my speed has exceeded the speed of light. Chu Yi stretched out his finger without hesitation and pointed in the direction where the energy light wave landed just now. He said without hesitation, Very good, that's the direction, take me there. Anna nodded slightly and gently hugged Chu Yi tightly with her arms, the too plump and soft warmth clinging to his neck. Their breaths intertwined together, like filaments entwining each other, and their breaths gradually merged. Chu Yi was stunned and asked in confusion, Why are you hugging me? I asked you to take me there. How can I take you there without holding you? And the tighter the hug, the better. A sly smile appeared on Anna's lips. Chu Yi said helplessly, Okay, let's go like this, let's go quickly, we must be quick. Anna hugged Chu Yi tightly, her voice full of tension and expectation, Hold me tight, otherwise it will have no effect. In an instant, the two of them transmigrated the boundary of the blue star-like black light and entered the depths of the universe. Hoo ho ho, I have to slow down, there is no air in space, slow down. Chu Yi kept waving his hands, breathing heavily. When Chu Yi and Anna regained their breath, an even more embarrassing scene happened. Their clothes mysteriously disappeared at the speed of light, as if they were swept away by invisible force. In the boundless space, Chu Yi and Anna were focused on each other and treated each other sincerely. Anna's face flushed slightly, and her mood was uncontrollable. What is going on? At the same time, Chu Yi looked confused, and his heart was full of confusion. Could it be that the speed was too fast and the clothes were burned in the friction with the air? However, the scene really made Chu Yi's blood boil, and it made people feel an irresistible impulse. This, I can't stand it anymore. Chu Yi's heart beat rapidly, as if it was about to jump out of his chest. Anna and Chu Yi burned like meteors in an instant, and in the boundless universe, the two were passionately intertwined. Anna's body seemed to be surrounded by flames, burning with endless desire. Her lips and Chu Yi's lips and tongue were entangled with each other, like two molten magnets inseparable. Their tongues kept wandering, exploring each other's deep secrets. As for Chu Yi, his fingers wandered over Anna's body like a magician, causing every inch of her skin to tremble. His touch was an electric current that traveled from her skin to her marrow, sending her into an overwhelming frenzy. Their bodies fit tightly together, as if the gravitational pull of two planets attracted each other. Their breathing was rapid and powerful, like the howling wind in the night sky. Their heartbeats were beating like drums, like the most beautiful music in the universe. In this vast space, they became each other's universe. At this moment, Anna and Chu Yi merged into one, and their souls merged with each other. Their love burns like a fire, unbound by time and space, as if it exists forever in the memory of the universe. I don't know how long it took, but Chu Yi suddenly said, Anna, did you do it on purpose? Why did you do this? He never expected that Anna would use such an extreme method. However, since they already have skin-to-skin contact, he will be responsible. Anna smiled, with a satisfied look on her face, and replied calmly, Chu-yi, you know. Ever since I devoured the black light core and gained the power of the devil, I feel that my emotions have been amplified countless times, including emotions, aspect. Then why didn't you tell me? I will find a way for you. Chu-yi was filled with guilt. A playful smile appeared at the corner of Anna's mouth. Haha, it has happened, and this is the result. From now on, I will be your woman. There was a kind of firmness and determination in her tone. Chu-yi reached out to signal, took out 2 sets of black robes from the space ring, and said helplessly, let's put on clothes first. Anna nodded slightly, with a blush on her face, and the two hurriedly put on their robes. Chu-yi then said, time is running out now, we must find those alien battleships quickly. I guess they will attack again soon. Blue Star. Dot can no longer be injured. Anna nodded after hearing this and couldn't help but hold Chu-yi's hand. In the space, the two people were like lights in the darkness, speeding towards the direction indicated by Chu-yi. Although super light flight is extremely fast, in the universe, this speed is obviously not fast enough. Anna and Chu-yi flew for a long time, but still did not find the alien warship that attacked Blue Star. But at this moment, Chu-yi's body underwent strange changes. As time passed, he felt that his entire body was enveloped by a spiritual energy. In Chu-yi's body, a strange energy core slowly formed. This core contained terrifying energy and was integrated with the power of primordial origin. It's unbelievable. A primordial origin core was born in my body. How did this happen? This is the primordial origin core. It is simply unbelievable. Chu-yi's heart was filled with turmoil. Moreover, Chu-yi was surprised to find that his supernatural power had reached the peak of rank 9, which made him feel very confused. The birth of the primordial origin core allowed Chu-yi to clearly feel that it contained all his powers, but it did not include the god-killing spear. Chu-yi asked excitedly, Anna, do you feel any changes? He expected her to have the same experience. Anna was equally surprised and said, Chu-yi, are you also? There was disbelief in her voice. Chu-yi nodded and said excitedly, you have also formed an energy core in your body. He felt hope and resonance. Anna nodded and affirmed, yes, I don't know why. Since entering space, my body has continued to absorb the surrounding energy, forming a dark light core in my body. It's weird. Chu-yi fell into deep thought, trying to understand the meaning of all this, but at this moment, the ethereal voice of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable sounded in Chu-yi's mind, this is the real energy of this universe. What you have practiced before is only what I released. Spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy I released was too thin, which caused Blue Star to practice slowly. Now that you have come into contact with the real energy of this world, you will have such a reaction. I see, is this the realm after rank 9? Chu-yi suddenly realized. Just like that, after who knows how long, Chu-yi and Anna finally witnessed this interstellar battleship. Its shape is unique and exquisite, exuding a breathtaking technological light. At this time, in the command room of the star battleship, Punias had a crazy expression on his face. Finally, the people from Blue Star have arrived. Launch gamma rays immediately and shoot at them. The subordinate immediately responded excitedly, yes. The gamma rays are about to be ready. The subordinate's voice seemed to be suppressed in the tense atmosphere, with a hint of trembling. Launch. His voice suddenly sounded loud, as shocking as a war drum. Immediately afterwards, the huge interstellar battleship suddenly launched a beam of dazzling gamma rays, heading straight towards Chu-yi and Anna. Haha, I'm so sleepy, I'll give you a pillow. Chu-yi smiled, his eyes shining with desire. This thing is really a treasure, it can greatly enhance his strength. He stood in front of Anna without hesitation and resolutely took on the responsibility of protecting her. Chu-yi, get away quickly. Anna shouted hurriedly, with an anxious look written all over her face. However, Chu-yi responded unwaveringly, it's okay. This is a good thing from transcendent level. His voice conveyed a kind of determination and confidence. As soon as Chu-yi finished speaking, gamma rays and light waves hit his body. There was a loud boom, and although the intense energy brought instant pain, Chu-yi burst out laughing with excitement. He felt the power surge inside his body, and his laughter echoed in the air, swallow. Swallow. Ha ha ha, more. Yi felt a strong energy spreading through his body. His skin seemed to be absorbing the super strong gamma rays, and every inch of his skin was bathed in endless light. His body seemed to have been injected with new power, and the primordial origin core emitted more powerful energy fluctuations in his body. Inside the star battleship, Punias shouted in disbelief, "This blue star man is a monster. He can actually absorb gamma rays. Quick, 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 let's run away." Yi saw the interstellar battleship speeding away, and instantly transformed into a god-killing spear, gritting his teeth and said, "If you dare to kill our people from the Dragon Kingdom, die. Kill gods with 100 steps." In an instant, the god-killing spear was like a sharp arrow, heading straight for the starship. However, the star battleship's escape speed is too fast. These guys actually ran away. "Don't let me know who you are. Otherwise, your whole clan will be destroyed." Yi roared, just when he was angry. An unexpected person appears in space. Moe-ocean laughed proudly and said, "Ha ha 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 ha. Yi, you dare to come to space, you are simply seeking death." Yi glared at Moe-ocean and said in surprise, "Moe-ocean, you actually ambush me here." Moe-ocean said proudly, "I once told you that as long as you dare to appear in Blue Star, I will kill you." Yi sneered and said, "Come on then, let me see how much you weigh. Demon races garbage. You stand back, I'll deal with Moe-ocean." Yi turned to Anna beside him and said solemnly, "Moe-ocean is not easy to deal with, this demon has space ability." But Anna responded without hesitation, "Yi, let me help you. Believe me, I am very strong now." She flashed and rushed towards Moe-ocean like lightning, showing her that unique dark light property. Her speed was staggering, and a black light cut through the space. Moe-ocean mocked arrogantly, "Ha ha ha ha, you are just a little human, you have repeatedly provoked me, go to hell." His voice was full of ridicule and arrogance. "The space, shatter." Moe-ocean shouted, a powerful energy burst out from his body, and the space around Anna instantly shattered into countless fragments. However, Anna's speed was too fast. She avoided the space fragmentation in an instant, being flexible and agile. Yi holds the god-killing spear in his hand, and his Kunpeng form is turned on. He seemed to be transformed into the starry sky war god, majestic and mysterious. He rushed towards Moe-ocean without fear and with firm eyes. Primordial origin power, primordial origin form is activated. Yi shouted loudly, and his body instantly emitted a powerful power. He waved the god-killing spear in his hand, making a harsh metal collision sound. The shadow of the gun was like a dragon, sweeping out with infinite force, god-killing spear technique, primordial origin Wuji style. Bang bang bang. There were countless loud noises, and Yi and Moe-ocean fought together instantly. The scene instantly became shocking and intense, and the two people's forces collided, causing huge energy fluctuations. Anna was assisting Yi. She showed unparalleled fighting skills and speed, and cooperated with Yi tacitly to suppress Moe-ocean. Moe-ocean roared, "In a short period of time, you have become so powerful. But this is not enough. Now, we are fighting in space. Moe-ocean, you are too arrogant. Today I will personally end your life." An imperceptible smile appeared at the corner of Yi's mouth. "You want to kill me just because of the two of you? It's really ridiculous." Moe-ocean retorted disdainfully, murmuring in his mouth, "The power of space, shatter." Suddenly, the surrounding space began to collapse, and debris flew everywhere. Yi and Anna kept moving to dodge. Primordial origin, god-killing arrow. Yi shouted loudly, and an astonishing scene unfolded in front of him. A black primordial origin longbow filled with terrifying energy appeared in Yi's hand. Its presence made people feel an irresistible pressure. He did not hesitate to place the god-killing spear on the primordial origin bow. In an instant, the primordial origin ability was integrated into the god-killing spear, making it exude a terrifying aura. With a whoosh sound, the god-killing spear seemed to have been injected with new life, full of evil aura and endless killing intent, and rushed straight towards Moe-ocean. When Moe-ocean saw this scene, he immediately exclaimed, "Yi, I will come back." Anna, on the other hand, exclaimed, "Yi, is this your new stunt? It's so powerful." Moe-ocean instantly merged into the void and disappeared without a trace. "Moe-ocean, I will never let you go." Yi frowned. This guy is really troublesome. He can slip away at every turn, which is really a headache. Who knows if he will suddenly appear from somewhere and give you a sneak attack or something. And just when Chuyi was worried, Anna suddenly said, Chuyi, I don't seem to be able to see the blue star. Chuyi looked up and saw that the sky was dotted with stars, which was so beautiful. However, they are too far away from the blue star and can no longer observe its existence with the naked eye. Ah, I'm not very clear either. Chuyi replied, slightly embarrassed. Then how do we get back to Blue Star? Anna's anxiety deepened. That's right, the two of them were lost in the vastness of space. Chuyi said anxiously. Let's search carefully and look for the blue star carefully. As long as it is a blue planet, it may be a blue star. Anna nodded silently and nervously began to carefully search for traces of blue star. Unfortunately, they found nothing. Are we going to be lost forever in this boundless space, and then be trapped and die in this endless darkness, dying of old age? Chuyi's voice was filled with helplessness. Anna comforted her gently. Chuyi, don't worry, we will find our way home. Her voice was full of firmness and comfort, as if it could eliminate Chuyi's inner uneasiness. The ethereal voice of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable sounded in Chuyi's mind again. Induction of spiritual energy, the spiritual energy is where the blue star is. This sentence was like a thunder, lighting up instantly in Chuyi's thoughts. Chuyi suddenly realized, and a burst of joy surged in his heart. Why didn't he think of it earlier? Spiritual energy is unique to Blue Star. As long as you can sense the breath of spiritual energy, you can find the location of Blue Star. Anna, I have a solution. Chuyi looked extremely excited. He quickly sat cross-legged, put his hands in front of his knees, and began to focus on the location where he sensed the aura. His thoughts gradually deepened, and his mind gradually became immersed in his own perceptions. After a while, Chuyi finally felt a trace of spiritual energy that was so weak that it was difficult to detect. The breath came from a specific direction, as if waving to him. Anna, that's the direction. That's the direction of Blue Star. Let's go. Chuyi suddenly said excitedly, and then pointed towards the 6 o'clock direction, his eyes full of determination and hope. Anna shouted excitedly. Great, we can finally go home. Chuyi, you are my hero. I love you to death. She squeezed his hand hard, her heart filled with love for Chuyi. In this way, they ran towards the guided direction together, and their figures quickly disappeared in the endless space. Chuyi-Anna in the sky turned into a black light and quickly came towards the blue star. 2 days later, Chuyi and Anna finally returned to Spark City. At this moment, Spark City is full of vitality, and its prosperity is breathtaking. This city is not only a place where many people gather, but also a city where everyone is equal. Here, all people enjoy equal rights and money is no longer the criterion for measuring everything. Chuyi and Anna walked on the streets of Spark City and felt the harmony and tranquility here. The buildings on both sides of the street show prosperity and wealth, and colorful flags flutter in the breeze, adding a touch of bright color to the entire city. People dressed in colorful costumes walked through the streets with smiles on their faces, exchanging friendly greetings. I will leave within a year, Chuyi said solemnly. Anna asked in surprise, leave? Where are you going? Are you no longer staying in Spark City? Chuyi sighed and said helplessly, hey, do you remember Labas? An interstellar war is breaking out on their planet, and I promised him to help. Anna's elegant posture showed a firm gaze, and she said without hesitation, I want to go with you, and I will protect you. You'd better not take risks. Interstellar war is very dangerous. I'm not even sure. Chuyi's brows furrowed, helplessness showing on his expression. Anna replied firmly, I must go with you. I don't worry about you going alone. Oh, okay. Let me take you there. Chuyi touched his forehead helplessly. He knew that no matter how much he argued, it would be useless. Xingwo City is now guarded by Xiao Tianju, and Chuyi is not worried about the safety of Xingwo City at all. Although Chuyi is the founder of Spark City, he is a hands-off shopkeeper who doesn't care about anything. Many things are managed by Anna. But at this moment, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in Chuyi's eyes, Xiao Tianju. Senior Xiao Tianju, why are you here? Chuyi and Anna quickly stepped forward to salute. Xiao Tianju smiled and said to Chuyi, I just have something to ask you. Afterwards, the three of them came to the meeting hall of Spark City together. Xiao Tianju's eyes fell on Chu Yi, and he said seriously, Chu Yi, since 3 days ago, many ordinary people have awakened their powers inexplicably and become naturally awakened ones. There was a trace of it in his words, concern. Chu Yi asked with some confusion. These people have the ability to protect themselves. This should be a good thing, right? He didn't understand Xiao Tianju's worries. Xiao Tianju took a deep look at Chu Yi and said in a deep voice, Chu Yi, you are thinking too simply. These people suddenly gained superpowers, not just for self-protection. Chu Yi was stunned for a moment. He didn't understand what Xiao Tianju meant and asked, did they do something bad? Of course, many people have been oppressed for too long. Once they suddenly gain strength, they will inevitably become swollen. Xiao Tianju sighed, with a helpless expression on his face. They began to act wantonly, raping and looting, do all kinds of evil. This is part of human nature, it's normal. Chu Yi complained angrily. How is this possible? Have they forgotten the pain they had? Suddenly awakened their powers, shouldn't they protect more people? Why are they killing each other? Xiao Tianju sighed deeply and said helplessly, if there is really no way to solve it, I will kill these people. Okay, don't talk about this anymore. Xiao Tianju interrupted their argument, changed the subject and asked, Chu Yi, have you broken through to the transformation stage? Chu Yi nodded and said, yes, an energy core has been formed in my body. Xiao Tianju nodded and encouraged. Very good, I hope you can break through to the star core stage as soon as possible. That is the real powerhouse. Chu Yi asked curiously, the star core stage, the realm after the transformation stage. Yes, I have accumulated hundreds of years of energy in my body, so I broke through to the star core stage not long ago. Xiao Tianju nodded, and then his eyes became extremely deep, that is the real star core. As long as the star core in the body immortal, no matter how much damage is suffered, the body will not die. Chu Yi said in shock, this is too outrageous. The star core is immortal and the body is immortal. His voice was full of surprise. Anna couldn't hide her surprise. Senior Xiao Tianju, are you really so powerful? Her voice was full of admiration and admiration. Xiao Tianju smiled and said, of course, but, you too, what is going on? He was keenly aware that the auras of Chu Yi and Anna were closely connected, and it was obvious that some kind of special combination had occurred. Anna said unabashedly, of course, I am Chu Yi's woman now. Chu Yi was a little embarrassed. This happiness came too suddenly, and he felt a little uncomfortable. Okay, now is not the time to talk about this. So, he interrupted her, and then said to Xiao Tianju, Senior Xiao Tianju, I wonder if you have any suggestions for breaking through to the star core stage. Xiao Tianju thought for a moment and then replied, to break through from the transformation stage to the star core stage, the key lies in the accumulation of energy. As long as there is enough energy inside the energy core, this process takes a long time, which can be as short as dozens of years, up to 100 years. Decades. So long. When Chu Yi heard this, he couldn't believe it. It actually took 100 years to break through to the star core stage. I couldn't help but feel doubts in my heart. 100 years, that's a lifetime for an ordinary person, it's really too long. But then he thought about it, if it was in the prehistoric world, it would take a calamity. Thinking about it again, these 100 years are nothing. This made Chu Yi's inner turmoil gradually calm down. An hour later, Chu Yi returned to his room, but this time the room was different from before. Anna said that she would live with Chu Yi no matter what, and there was no doubt about it. The two of them even argued for a long time over this matter, and the atmosphere was tense and intense. In the end, Chu Yi had to give in to her insistence and made a compromise. A good man will not fight with a woman. Chaos Pearl, Chaos World, Chu Yi sat cross-legged, primordial origin Wujigong was running, and power poured into his body continuously. At this moment, he was concentrating on integrating another peerless skill, the 9 transformations mysterious skill. The 9-turn mysterious technique was created by the legendary great god Pengu to prove the Tao through force. The force here does not refer to pure strength, but to an extremely strong strength, the strength to crush everything. The secrets of the 9 revolutions mysterious technique were gradually integrated into the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, and Chu Yi felt an unprecedented huge increase. This kind of improvement is not just local, but all round. Before formal practice has begun, it is just integration, and there is such a big improvement. The 9 transformations mysterious technique is so terrifying. At this moment, Chu Yi finally realized the incomparable terror of the 9 transformations mysterious technique. The 9 revolutions mysterious technique is not just a simple cultivation method. It can continuously improve one's own talents, transform acquired cultivation into innate origin, and transform innate origin into endless power of chaos. After a long time, a mighty spiritual energy burst out from Chu Yi's body, which was a manifestation of the successful fusion of the 9 transformations mysterious technique. Intel the Great Tao, it's so powerful. Chu Yi was extremely excited. The primordial origin Wujikong at this moment can be said to be an incomparably more powerful practice method than the 9 revolutions Zongong. Just thinking about it made Chu Yi excited. Chu Yi practiced cross-leggedly, and his realm continued to rise like a rocket. After a while, he successfully broke through from the fusion stage to the heartbeat stage. However, he was not satisfied and continued to pursue higher realms. The heartbeat stage is on the 1st level, the 3rd level, the 14th level, and every breakthrough makes him stronger. As time passed, Chu Yi once again entered a new realm of cultivation, the spiritual silence period. His realm began to rise again, reaching the 1st level of the spiritual silence stage, the 3rd level, the 9th level. Each breakthrough made his mind more condensed and his soul deeper. Not long after, Chu Yi entered the gold core stage of cultivation. His cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds, reaching a new height. Gold core stage, the peak state of this stage of qi refining soul formation, Chu Yi now has the power of divine consciousness at his fingertips. The divine consciousness is so powerful that it is breathtaking. However, what shocked him the most was the gold core in his body. The gold core and the energy core merge slowly, like 2 rivers converging, completely integrated into one. It was successfully integrated. This is the primordial origin gold core. Chu Yi was dumbfounded. 2 completely different body refining systems actually merged together. Chu Yi couldn't help but feel confused and didn't know what kind of reaction he would have. However, the suspense was revealed at this moment. Chu Yi's primordial origin gold core began to slowly separate, and turned into 2 primordial origin gold cores. Are these 2 gold cores, or 2 primordial origin cores? Chu Yi was extremely confused. Various possibilities flashed through his mind, and he speculated that this was a strange result of the fusion of the forces of the 2 worlds. The fusion of 2 powers. Could it be that the primordial origin core and the gold core communicate with each other and merge with each other, which made Chu Yi fall into deep thought? This is incredible, just like monks communicating with each other and exchanging Taoist teachings when discussing Taoism, the same is true for primordial origin core and gold core. With a thought in his mind, Chu Yi returned to his room from the chaos bead in an instant, his heart filled with the joy of cultivation. Anna asked with concern, "Chu Yi, where have you been these days?" Her brows furrowed slightly, full of worry. "I have been practicing." Chu Yi smiled softly. Don't you even sleep?" Anna's voice revealed a hint of anxiety, puzzled by Chu Yi's diligence. Chu Yi said with confidence, "Do people with superpowers need to rest?" "It seems that there is no need to sleep." Anna patted her forehead. "Of course, although your body can bear it, your spirit also needs to rest." There was a hint of reproach in her tone. "Understood, I will pay attention." Chu Yi nodded knowingly. "The fat man is back, and he has something to do with you," Anna reminded with a smile. "I understand, I will go find him." At this moment, Chu Yi was quietly feeling the primordial origin core contained in his body, and the energy was more powerful than before. However, he still did not dare to use his magic power easily, because he knew that he could not use his magic power before reaching the golden immortal realm, otherwise he would be instantly obliterated by the will of the universe or something like that. This was said by Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable himself, and Chu Yi firmly believed it. There is a long way to go. Chu Yi sighed in his heart. 3 hours later, Chu Yi, Anna, Fatty and Nangong Shirong gathered in the Spark City meeting hall. Chu Yi was the first to speak. "Within 1 year, Anna and I will embark on a journey to Ram Star." The fat man asked curiously, "Why are you going to Ram Star? Are you in such a hurry?" Chu Yi took a deep breath and explained firmly, "Planet Ram is about to be involved in an interstellar war, and I have formed an alliance with Labas." Otherwise, why do you think Labas would give me an interstellar battleship? Ha 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 ha. Great, let's have a fight. My golden cudgel is already thirsty. The fat man interrupted excitedly. Chu Yi waved his hands helplessly and said, Fat man, don't be so excited, I'm not here to fight. At the same time, Anna held Chu Yi's arm tightly and asked gently, if it's not to go to war, then what are we going to ram star for? Chu Yi's eyes became deep, and he answered firmly, our goal is for peace. Unless it is absolutely necessary, I hope to avoid war. Nangong Shirong then expressed her opinion, peace without war is difficult. War is just a matter of victory or defeat. The winner is king, and the loser perishes. The fat man said excitedly, then I want to go too. After all, I can see the magnificent scenery of space with my own eyes. This is the legendary interstellar travel. His eyes were shining with excitement. Chu Yi smiled and responded, okay. What about you, Nangong Shirong, are you going too? Nangong Shirong replied without hesitation, of course. I will be wherever the pillar is. There was determination in her voice. Chu Yi nodded heavily and said, okay. Now that you have made a decision, I announce that our plan will be launched in half a year. In these 6 months, everyone must work hard to practice and strive to make further progress. Chu Yi's tone revealed his expectations for the future. After the meeting, Chu Yi came to the office in Spark City. The comfortable chair made him feel relaxed. Anna told him that there was news about someone who wanted to see him, which made him feel strange that someone actually wanted to see him specifically. He was curious about who came to see him. Soon, a blonde woman walked into Chu Yi's sight. Hey, isn't this the Speaker of the United States Federal Congress, Pelosi? Chu Yi said in surprise. He really didn't expect that this person turned out to be Pelosi. Pelosi said seriously, Chu Yi, you destroyed the United States and destroyed the Order of Blue Star. You are too cruel. You killed so many people. He he he. Chu Yi suddenly chuckled, and then said with a sarcastic face, Order. Do you mean the Order of the United States? And, I just want to kill, what can you do to me? Pelosi said angrily, Chu Yi, you have gone too far. You have destroyed so many countries. What on earth do you want to do? Ha ha ha. Chu Yi laughed proudly, with an arrogant smile, Pelosi, you are an 80-year-old woman who has lived like a dog for so many years, and you actually ask such a ridiculous question. Chu Yi's words were undoubtedly provocative. For a person with superpowers, 80 years old was considered very young, yet Chu Yi called her an old woman. Chu Yi, I want to join your Spark City. I want to become the deputy city leader. Although Pelosi was so angry that her delicate body was shaking, she held back her anger. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Chu Yi couldn't help laughing again, laughing so hard, ha 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 ha. I'm laughing so hard. Pelosi, Speaker of the United States Federal Congress, I know the director of a mental hospital, would you like me to introduce him to you? Chu Yi looked at Pelosi as if he were a fool. Pelosi stared at Chu Yi closely, her eyes shining with determination, and her voice was full of determination, Chu Yi. I'm not kidding you, I want to join Spark City, and I want to be the deputy city leader. Chu Yi's brows wrinkled slightly, and his eyes were as sharp as a knife, revealing a trace of deep thought. He replied calmly, I'm not kidding you either. Alas, Pelosi took a deep breath. She knew she had to make some concessions. How can I enter Spark City? She asked helplessly, with a hint of uneasiness and expectation in her voice. Chu Yi stared at Pelosi, suddenly showed a smile, and said, do you really want to join Spark City? Pelosi nodded firmly and said, yes. Chu Yi, please give me this chance. Chu Yi was silent for a moment, then sighed softly and said, if you don't have a chance, it's impossible for Spark City to accept you. Pelosi frowned, realizing that her plan might fail. She bit her lip, and then suddenly decided to take a risky approach. Chu Yi, although our country of America was destroyed by you, our superpowers are not dead. You. Chu Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of vigilance, are you threatening me? As soon as he finished speaking, the god-killing sword in Chu Yi's hand was already pressed against Pelosi's neck. Ah! Pelosi was so frightened that his heart beat rapidly. The speed was so fast that Chu Yi became stronger again. And this guy would kill her if she disagreed with her. Pelosi quickly seized the last chance, her voice filled with pleading and panic, don't kill me. I'm here sincerely. Chu Yi's eyes glanced sharply at Pelosi, his brows were furrowed with a hint of caution. He took a deep breath and asked, "Tell me, what is your purpose?" His voice revealed doubts about Pelosi's true intentions. Pelosi felt extremely helpless, and the anguish in her heart was beyond words. She simply wanted to join Spark City, but Chu Yi didn't believe her sincerity. She responded softly, "I really have no other purpose, I just want to join Spark City." Her voice revealed a trace of sincerity, but Chu Yi was still suspicious. "Ha ha," Chu Yi sneered disdainfully, his tone full of ridicule and disdain, "do you think I'm a fool? How could I believe such nonsense?" Pelosi felt weak in her heart, and she silently thought about how to make Chu Yi believe in herself. She said firmly, "What do I need to do to make you believe me?" There was a hint of firmness and determination in her voice. Chu Yi seemed to be deep in thought. He suddenly mentioned something and said, "I heard that your president of the United States is an Alzheimer's man named Biden. If you can bring his head to see me, I might believe you." Quote. Pelosi's heart moved. It turned out to be the idiot Biden. She replied firmly, "Okay, I promise you." She agreed without hesitation. "Within half a year, we won't wait until after the deadline." Chu Yi stared at Pelosi coldly. He had no intention of relaxing at all. His tone was full of coldness and intolerance. "Okay, I promise you." Pelosi left without hesitation, while Chu Yi was busy with other matters. He once bought a villa in Nanchang City with money borrowed from Zheng Xin. At that time, Chu Yi planned to live there for a long time, but was hunted down by the Superpowers Association and had to give up this plan. He decided to sell the villa to pay back the money. After handling these matters, Chu Yi returned to Spark City. At this moment, in the meeting hall of Spark City, Feng Qingyan looked at Chu Yi and said with a smile, "Little brother, long time no see." Chu Yi raised his eyebrows and asked, "Sister Qingyan, why are you free? Aren't you always practicing?" Feng Qingyan said seriously, "This time is different. We have formulated a project called the Spark Centennial Plan." Chu Yi asked curiously, "Xingwo Centennial Plan, what does it take 100 years to do?" Feng Qingyan explained, "The meaning is very simple. In the next 100 years, Spark City will become the safest and most livable city in the world, able to accommodate the global population." Chu Yi asked doubtfully, "Does it take 100 years to complete?" Feng Qingyan nodded and said, "Of course, do you know how much financial and manpower it takes to build such a city?" Chu Yi thought thoughtfully, and then said, "Okay, what do I need to do?" Feng Qingyan explained seriously, "We need to open the bidding to the entire Dragon Kingdom, and the details of the Starfire Centennial Plan have been formulated." Chu Yi frowned and said with some worry, "Is the national bidding too huge?" Feng Qingyan explained, "This project is very large and must receive financial and human support from major families." Chu Yi asked doubtfully, "Then do we have enough funds?" Feng Qingyan smiled and said, "Money? We don't need it." Chu Yi asked even more confused, "Why?" Feng Qingyan said with a smile, "Chu Yi, with your current strength, as long as you decide to do something, many people will support you. The news that you destroyed the countries has spread, and those wealthy families know it." "Then what?" Chu Yi asked. He really didn't understand why he didn't need money. Feng Qingyan said thoughtfully, "Xingwo City can guarantee their safety. This is our advantage. Our advantage is strength. In this era, nothing is more valuable than absolute safety." Chu Yi smiled bitterly and nodded, "Okay. You just have to figure it out. I fully support it." "Okay." Feng Qingyan raised her eyebrows slightly, with confidence in her eyes, "Then the bidding will start in 1 month." After changing the topic, Feng Qingyan continued, "There is another personal question. Chu Yi, are you and Anna together?" Do you know all this?" Chu Yi had a trace of embarrassment on his face. "Congratulations, Miss Anna." Feng Qingyan smiled broadly, with a hint of ridicule and blessing in her voice, and then continued, "You can ask Anna to help you. His father is the great emperor of the Bear Country. If the great emperor of the Bear Country is willing to help, and I believe that the Spark Centennial Plan can be completed 20 years ahead of schedule." Chu Yi fell into thinking for a while. He didn't expect this. Anna is the daughter of the great emperor of Shang Country. This is a prominent person with connections. "I understand." Chu Yi's heart was shaken, but he still maintained a calm expression. After a long time, in Chu-yi's room, on the soft big bed, the intense exercise between the two finally came to an end. Anna nestled on Chu-yi's shoulder, and their heartbeats resonated with each other. For the centenary plan of Spark City, I need the strength and support of your father, the great emperor of Shang country. Chu-yi's leisurely voice sounded. But I don't want to go back now, I don't want to leave you. Anna said hesitantly, looking shy. Chu-yi patted Anna's hand gently and comforted her gently. Don't worry, it's still a long time. HMPH. The corner of Anna's mouth raised slightly, with a hint of intoxication in her eyes. You are a bad guy, but I like it. There was a hint of fascination and teasing in her voice. I will go back and tell my father tomorrow, you don't worry. Chu-yi finally had a good sleep and felt that the burden on his body was much lighter. At the same time, he was also grateful for the help of everyone in Spark City. Early the next morning, Anna returned to Bear Country. At this moment, Anna's extremely gorgeous home. The entire living room is brightly lit, the walls are covered with valuable oil paintings, and every piece of furniture exudes a luxurious atmosphere. On the marble floor are exquisite vases filled with bright flowers, exuding a charming fragrance. The entire space seems to be a carefully crafted art palace, and every detail reveals the owner's pursuit of quality of life and love for beauty. Anna shouted eagerly, "Dad! I'm back!" Her voice was full of excitement and warmth, as if the whole room was lit up by her joy. There was no smile on the face of the great emperor of the Shang kingdom, and he responded with a straight face. Do you still know that when you come back and have a man, you will forget about the existence of Dad? You unfilial daughter. His voice was full of resentment and disappointment, making the whole atmosphere suddenly heavy. Anna sighed slightly and said helplessly, Dad, it's meaningless for you to say this. You and my mother are not like this. Her tone revealed her understanding and tolerance for her father, hoping to resolve this atmosphere. The great emperor of the Bear Kingdom raised his eyebrows impatiently and said, Don't mention your mother, just tell me if you have anything to do. I'm very busy now. There was a hint of anxiety and impatience in his tone, as if he had important things to deal with. Anna took a deep breath, her voice was firm and excited, and said, Dad, I hope you can help Spark City. This is Chu-yi's dream, and I want to help him realize it. The great emperor of Shang Kingdom frowned. After thinking for a moment, his voice was low and calm, and he said, It was that boy Chu-yi who asked you to come to me for help. So, how do you plan to ask me to help you next? He stared at Anna with a hint of doubt. Anna did not flinch at all, her voice was firm and powerful, and she said, Of course I want you to participate in the Spark Centennial Plan, Father. It is a very grand plan that can bring prosperity and progress to the entire Spark City. Okay. The great emperor of the Shang Kingdom did not hesitate at all. He nodded, with a hint of approval in his eyes. I will send someone to discuss the specific matters with Chu-yi. We must ensure that this plan can go smoothly. Great, Father. I have always believed that you will support me in Spark City. I believe that with your help, Spark City's future will be even more brilliant. Anna was so excited when she heard this decision that she couldn't control herself. Her eyes sparkled with joy. When will you call that boy Chu-yi over and let me see him? The great emperor of the Shang Kingdom frowned. Anna said hesitantly, Well, let's talk about it when we have time, now is not the time. In this way, the father and daughter chatted for a long time, discussing future plans. In the Spark City office, Chu-yi sat quietly, enjoying the rare quiet time. However, fate seemed unwilling to obey his wishes. On that afternoon, Pelosi appeared in front of Chu-yi's office with Biden's head. Chu-yi, you should believe me now. This is the head of the crowd. Pelosi said slowly. Chu-yi never expected that Pelosi actually killed Denby with his own hands and sent his head over. Chu-yi said in surprise, I didn't expect you would dare to kill Deng Bai. This is incredible. After all, he is your compatriot. Can you really bear it? Pelosi replied wantonly. That old guy Biden has been coveting my beauty, but it's a pity that he has never succeeded. Chu-yi couldn't help but joked. You are so ugly and have a bad figure, yet there are still people who covet your beauty. Chu-yi, I'm not ugly, and I have a very good figure. If you don't believe it, look at it. Pelosi retorted angrily and began to take off her clothes without ceremony. This American woman was so shameless. Stop, stop, stop. Chu Yi immediately changed the subject. Okay, let's not talk about this. Now that I have thought about it, you are still not welcome in Spark City. Pelosi opened her mouth wide and asked in confusion, why? I have obviously brought Biden's head. Chu Yi raised his eyebrows and explained. You understand, my original words are, if you can come to see me with the head of the deceased, I may believe you. Maybe these two words are not necessarily the same. I mean, do you understand? Pelosi was confused. She didn't expect Chu Yi to be able to play such a trick. She just wants to join Spark City and live a good life. Chu Yi, how can I join Spark City? I really want to join Spark City. Pelosi asked hesitantly. Chu Yi calmly replied. No matter what you do, you cannot become the Deputy City Lord of Spark City, because you were once the Speaker of the United States Federal Congress. Chu Yi paused and continued. If you want to join Spark City, I allow you to become a civilian in Spark City, but you cannot have power, and your descendants cannot obtain rights. Okay, civilians will be civilians. Rights are just a cloud to me. Pelosi smiled slightly, with determination in her eyes. Okay, the conversation is over. Chu Yi took a deep breath, with a glint of thought in his eyes. In this way, Pelosi joined Spark City and became a citizen of Spark City. An hour later, a black-haired woman suddenly walked into Chu Yi's office. Team Leader Kunpeng, I am Tang Xiaoxing, a member of the Feng Group, an astrologer. She walked into the room gracefully and introduced herself confidently and proudly, her voice as pleasant as a clear spring. Oh, Tang Xiaoxing, it turned out to be Sister Qingyun's subordinate. What do you want from me? Chu Yi was curious. His eyes were fixed on Tang Xiaoxing, his eyebrows slightly raised, and his voice showed strong interest. Tang Xiaoxing straightened up and replied with a smile, of course I'm here to report on my work. Recently, I observed that there are unknown alien creatures near Blue Star, and they also have a huge group of interstellar battleships. What did you say? Another alien creature? Chu Yi said in surprise, with a hint of disbelief in his voice. Tang Xiaoxing replied firmly. Yes, Team Leader Qingyun asked me to tell you that we must be ready to fight at any time. Her voice conveyed a sense of determination and tenacity. I understand, is there anything else? Chu Yi nodded silently to express his understanding, with a hint of worry and thinking in his eyes. No, I'll leave first. Tang Xiaoxing shook her head gently, then turned around and left gracefully, leaving Chu Yi sitting alone in the office deep in thought. Another alien battleship. These battleships are really endless. Chu Yi's brows wrinkled slightly, and a feeling of helplessness surged in his heart. He already owns a starship, which was given to him by Labas. He deeply realized the power of the interstellar battleship. But he also understands that ordinary people do not have superpowers and will feel fear and uneasiness about the invasion of these aliens. Chu Yi felt deeply uneasy, and he immediately summoned the members of the Kunpeng group for an emergency meeting. 10 minutes later, in the meeting hall of Spark City, Chu Yi, Fatty and Nangong Shirong gathered together, and a tense atmosphere filled the air. Chu Yi said earnestly, I have some bad news to tell you. We are very likely to be surrounded by aliens. The fat man raised his eyebrows in surprise and asked in disbelief, what? We are surrounded by aliens. Is this the beginning of an interstellar war? Nangong Shirong's voice was full of shock. She said in surprise, this is like a plot in a science fiction novel. Interstellar invasion has become a reality. It's incredible. Chu Yi pondered for a moment, and then continued, now we are just warned in advance that Anna has returned to the Bear Country, and it will take some time for her to come back. The fat man asked anxiously, what happened? Chu Yi frowned tightly, with a hint of worry in his tone, and said, I don't know the specific situation, but since there are interstellar battleships around the Earth, we can preliminarily infer that these aliens must have some kind of conspiracy against the Earth. Chu Yi's voice was full of determination and courage, and he announced without hesitation, I think we must take the first action and cannot wait for those aliens to attack our blue star. There was a hint of uneasiness in Fatty's tone, and he asked hesitantly, what should we do? I haven't been to space yet. Chu Yi said firmly. Don't worry Fatty, we superpowers can move freely in space and will not suffocate due to lack of oxygen. Then let's just rush forward and kill these aliens. Fatty's eyes flashed with determination, as if he wanted to fight these aliens to the death. Fat man, don't interrupt. Nandong Shirong interrupted Fatty, and then asked curiously. She was full of curiosity about unknown things. How many alien interstellar battleships are there? It's a group of interstellar battleships. We must prepare for the worst, Chu Yi said solemnly, with a hint of solemnity and vigilance in his voice. However, Chu Yi had a plan in mind, and then he said directly, I will first find out the strength of these aliens. You are always ready to fight. There was an air of determination and leadership in his tone. Okay, Brother Chu, be careful. Fatty and Nandong Shirong nodded silently in agreement, their eyes revealing their trust in Chu Yi. After a while, a grand scene unfolded above the sky. Chu Yi stood upright on the back of a huge rock, looking at the starry sky. Dapeng has blue-black feathers, huge wings and extraordinary majesty, just like a domineering king among rocks. Little shark, you are so handsome, why have you changed so much from before? Chu Yi was filled with admiration. Of course, I have broken through to rank 9. I am much stronger and faster than before. Xiaoxia's voice echoed in Chu Yi's mind. Chu Yi gave Little Shark a thumbs up in his heart. Let's continue heading into space. I really want to know what these aliens are planning to do. At this moment, in space, outside the blue star, the Starfleet group is like a group of dancing butterflies. Their hulls shine with gold and silver light, like the brightest stars in the night sky. These main ships are gorgeous, with exquisite shapes, and every detail shows nobility and luxury. Inside the main ship, the man on the command platform was tall and muscular. He had firm eyes and stared at the screen in front of him, listening attentively to Punius's report. Sir Sloyer, this strange superpower appears on a blue star, and he seems to be immune to the effects of gamma rays. Ha ha ha, it's really interesting that he can be immune to gamma rays. After hearing this, Sloyer couldn't help laughing. Then let's use star-killing weapons to completely destroy this blue star. Punius quickly said. My lord, please think twice. If we destroy this planet, it will be meaningless to us. Are you questioning my decision? Sloyer frowned slightly and said in a cold voice. Punius quickly lowered his head and said, absolutely not, absolutely not. However, at this moment, the exclamations of his subordinates suddenly came out, piercing the originally quiet air. Lord Sloyer, it's terrible. There is a powerful superpower who is rapidly approaching our main ship. The subordinates reported in horror. Humph. Sloyer frowned slightly and snorted coldly, let me see who is so bold. He then looked at the virtual screen and saw Chu Yi holding a black spear in his hand, standing on the huge rock, approaching the main ship quickly. Punias almost gritted his teeth and said angrily, yes, it's him. His blue star superpower. This is. A trace of surprise flashed in Sloyer's eyes. The alien beast under his feet turned out to be a rank 9 alien beast. This is really rare. At this moment, Chu Yi's eyes fell on the main ship. He couldn't help but sigh. To be honest, the magnificence and scale of this main ship were jaw-dropping. Is this a group of interstellar battleships? What's even more amazing is that the main ship is surrounded by countless small interstellar battleships, like stars in a galaxy. In space, the scene displayed by this huge group of interstellar battleships is simply shocking. What is the purpose of your coming to Blue Star? Chu Yi asked loudly, his voice echoing in the universe, full of determination and pride. Conquer. As long as your Blue Star surrenders to our Pussy Star, we can leave a way for you to survive. Sloyer's voice came from the main ship. When Chu Yi heard this, he couldn't help but sneered, ha ha ha, Pussing Star. The last attack was also a good thing you did, right? He expressed his attitude without hesitation, since the aliens want to fight, then fight. Primordial origin, God-killing arrow. Chu Yi shouted loudly, his voice echoing in the void, as if it could penetrate time and space. In an instant, a black primordial origin longbow appeared in Chu Yi's hand. The bow was filled with terrifying primordial origin energy, causing all the aliens in the main ship to feel an irresistible pressure. Immediately afterwards, Chu Yi put the god-killing spear on the primordial origin bow without hesitation. In an instant, the primordial origin ability was integrated into the god-killing spear, giving it a terrifying aura. The god-killing spear seemed to have been injected with life, full of strong evil aura and endless killing intent, and rushed straight towards the main ship. You trash aliens, go to hell. Chu Yi roared, his voice full of anger and domineering will. And Sloyer in the main ship said angrily, This is a planet-level supernatural attack. Get out of the way, get out of the way. However, the god-killing spear rushed in front of the main ship like an arrow, causing they had no time to react. There was a loud boom, fire splashed out, and a big hole was made in the main ship. Chuyi smiled disdainfully and said, "Why are you so weak? I haven't tried my best yet." "That's it." At this moment, Sawyer's voice came from inside the main ship, "Let us go, we surrender." "Surrender? I don't accept prisoners." A mocking smile appeared on the corner of Chuyi's mouth. He felt very disdainful of the performance of these aliens. He felt that they were too easily defeated and simply too weak. However, inside the main ship, Sawyer's expression turned evil, and he had a sinister look on his face. "Immediately activate the antimatter star-killing weapon and carry out a saturation strike on Yanjing City, the capital of the Dragon Kingdom. Hurry up," Sawyer ordered coldly. The subordinate immediately replied, "I obey the order and activate the antimatter star-killing weapon. The target is Blue Star, Dragon Kingdom, and Yanjing City." "Yes." The subordinates kept tapping on the virtual light screen. Not long after, a cold mechanical sound sounded. "The antimatter star-killing weapon is ready. The target is locked, Blue Star, the capital of the Dragon Kingdom, Yanjing City. Start saturation strike." In an instant, 2 red streamer-like missiles were fired from the muzzles around the main ship, flying towards the Blue Star. Chuyi saw this scene and laughed. Stupid aliens dare to use weapons. They are just looking for death. However, just as Chuyi finished speaking, these antimatter missiles passed him by and headed towards Blue Star, too fast. These missiles were not coming towards me, did they miss? This situation made Chuyi very confused. No, we've fallen into a trap. An idea suddenly flashed in Chuyi's mind, and a possibility flashed across his mind instantly, making him realize something bad immediately. They are not planning to launch an attack on Blue Star, are they? However, it is too late now. These antimatter missiles are quickly flying towards the direction of Dragon Kingdom. These aliens are simply too insidious. Chuyi's heart felt cold at this moment. He guessed correctly. These aliens were indeed going to attack Blue Star. He was fooled. Alas, Chuyi lamented. He didn't know how many innocent civilians this would lead to. However, at this time, Chuyi had no time to take care of so much, and the antimatter missile was already speeding towards Blue Star. "Little shark, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Speed up," Chuyi shouted eagerly. He stood on the huge dopang and rushed towards the antimatter missiles, trying to intercept them. However, sadly, Chuyi's speed is still not fast enough. Chuyi's heart suddenly filled with thoughts of Anna. If she were here, with her dark light speed, she would definitely be able to intercept these 2 antimatter missiles. Half an hour later, the 2 antimatter missiles had flown over Yanjing City. The citizens of Yanjing were also aware of the existence of these 2 antimatter missiles. "What is this? Is it the legendary meteorite hitting the Blue Star? Do you want to make a wish?" a civilian exclaimed. Another person said in horror, "You idiot, you still want to make a wish? This is a transcendent level weapon. Let's run away, everyone, run for your life." At this moment, Chuyi was accelerating crazily, trying to intercept these 2 antimatter missiles. Although he tried his best, even Chuyi's speed could not catch up with the speed of the antimatter missile. "I'm still too weak. The speed is too slow." At this moment, Chuyi's heart was filled with despair. He couldn't imagine the consequences of the explosion of these 2 antimatter missiles in Yanjing City. There are hundreds of millions of civilians in Yanjing City, and these are hundreds of millions of people in the Dragon Kingdom. However, at this moment, an absolutely impossible figure appeared. She blocked the 2 antimatter missiles in front of them. Chuyi never expected that this person turned out to be Shangguan Lingwei. And there was a real dragon beside her. In this way, 1 person and 1 dragon blocked the attack of 2 antimatter missiles. I didn't expect it was Shangguan Lingwei. She would protect civilians. This is unscientific. Chuyi's eyes widened when he saw such a scene. With a bang, the 2 antimatter missiles exploded violently, and the aftermath was raging, but it was unable to shake Shangguan Lingwei's body. She seemed to be transformed into the god of war, wearing a battle robe, with an eastern dragon soaring and circling behind her. The shocking sight made Chuyi stunned. Could this be her real summoning power? It turns out to be a real dragon. Chu Yi was surprised and his eyes were full of shock. This was the first time he had witnessed the existence of a real dragon with his own eyes. Shangguan Lingwei's voice was firm. She looked at Chu Yi with an unquestionable determination in her eyes, and her tone was full of responsibility. Chu Yi, don't stare at me in such surprise. This is me. Grandpa's last wish was that he asked me to protect these civilians. A smile appeared on Chu Yi's face. He looked at Shangguan Lingwei and said softly, Shangguan Lingwei, you protected the civilians of a city. Whether it was your grandfather's last wish or not, this was your good deed. In fact, He is a kind man. His tone was full of appreciation and understanding. When Shangguan Lingwei heard Chu Yi's words, her eyes widened, she tilted her head and said in disbelief, what are you talking about? I'm kind. Chu Yi, are you kidding me? There was a hint of doubt in her voice. Chu Yi smiled and replied, what's wrong? Isn't it? If not, why do you want to protect these people? Shangguan Lingwei frowned slightly and said firmly, Chu Yi, I will never become a holy mother like you. I protect them for my grandfather, not for them. These civilians, in my opinion, are still an ant-like existence. There was an unquestionable determination in her tone. Chu Yi smiled softly. He no longer pursued Shangguan Lingwei's thoughts, but instead asked, is the real dragon your summoning power? It's really handsome. His eyes sparkled with curiosity and expectation. Of course, haven't you seen it? Shangguan Lingwei raised her chin proudly, with a proud smile on her lips. There was a kind of confidence and arrogance in her tone. Today is an eye-opener for you. You have to thank me properly. Chu Yi smiled softly. He was unmoved and said calmly, haha, it's just a real dragon. It just looks very strong. What if it's just an illusion? Hee. There was a trace of light in his eyes. Meaning of challenge. Shangguan Lingwei was stunned when he heard this, seeming to be thinking about something. She said a little abnormally, how strong you are is not what you should care about. You should go back to your Spark City. Ha ha ha. Chu Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect Shangguan Lingwei to say that. He originally wanted to fight Shangguan Lingwei. He really wanted to know how strong Shangguan Lingwei's true dragon was. However, Shangguan Lingwei's response clearly showed that she was not willing to fight Chu Yi. This made Chu Yi feel a little regretful, but he still said firmly, Shangguan Lingwei, I hope you can always protect the civilians here. I hope you will become a kind person. We in Spark City welcome you at any time. Chu Yi, stop brainwashing me and get out of here. You are not welcome here. Shangguan Lingwei was not moved by Chu Yi's words. Hee, I'm leaving, Shangguan Lingwei, I look forward to your joining. Chu Yi smiled slightly, then looked in the direction of Spark City, turned into a stream of light, and flew towards Spark City. Soon, Chu Yi arrived at Spark City. When he returned to his room, he found that Anna had returned. You're back, let's go. Chu Yi said excitedly, his eyes filled with anticipation. Anna stepped forward, hugged Chu Yi's arm tightly, and asked doubtfully, I just came back, where are I going? Are you in such a hurry? Chu Yi said helplessly. Now the alien interstellar battleship group is surrounding Blue Star, and just now they launched 2 missiles at Blue Star. These aliens are so hateful, they can't beat me, so they want to attack directly Blue Star, now we have to destroy them. Anna attended the dinner and said without hesitation, okay, let's go together. Chu Yi said with determination, call Fatty and the others. After a long time, Chu Yi, Anna, Fatty and Nangong Shirong were flying in space. Chu Yi had black hair and was wearing a flowing robe, with a charming smile on his handsome face. His body is filled with the powerful aura of primordial origin, and energy of various attributes surrounds him, including ice, fire, thunder, water, etc., each of which exudes terrifying power. Anna has long golden hair that flows gracefully like a waterfall. She wore a close-fitting combat uniform that hugged her graceful figure tightly. She had a graceful figure with graceful curves, bulging forward and backward, fully demonstrating her feminine charm. It exudes a black mysterious aura, as if it is the incarnation of the devil. The fat man stood on the somersault cloud, holding the ruby golden hoop tightly in his hand. The shining golden body exudes incomparable light. His fat figure and such gorgeous clothes make him look both funny and majestic. He is simply a contradictory body. Nangong Shirong wore an extremely gorgeous blue robe. The delicate and exquisite patterns on the robe were dizzying. Her entire body was shrouded in a terrifying black-purple thunderlight, as if she were the embodiment of thunder and lightning. This lightning is pure and flawless, showing her pure thunder attribute energy, making her look extremely sharp and intimidating. Ahead is the alien interstellar battleship group. Chu-Yi looked extremely excited, and then his tone suddenly became high-spirited. From now on, everyone, let's play as much as you want and fight as you like. In an instant, the four people quickly launched an attack and violently charged towards the group of interstellar battleships. Chu-Yi's body swayed, and he instantly transformed into the god-killing spear, activated the Kunpeng armor, and entered the primordial origin form. He rushed towards the main ship resolutely. At the same time, Anna, Fatty, and Nangong Shirong also launched a violent storm-like offensive, launching fierce attacks on the surrounding starships. Not long after, Chu-Yi quickly arrived at the main ship. He used the divine ability of the primordial origin clone to instantly differentiate into 10 figures. This time is different from the past. Chu-Yi's primordial origin clone has evolved and can actually differentiate into 10 figures, which is more powerful than the previous 9 clones. Primordial origin, god-killing arrow. Chu-Yi's voice echoed in the void, as if it could penetrate time and space. The black primordial origin longbows were transformed into the hands of the 10 primordial origin clones. The bow contained various attributes and powers, making the aliens in the main ship feel an irresistible pressure. The clones held the god-killing spear tightly to the primordial origin bow without hesitation. Suddenly, the primordial origin ability was integrated into the god-killing spear, causing it to emit the frightening primordial origin evil aura. The god-killing spear seemed to have been injected with new life, filled with strong evil aura and endless killing intent. Whoosh whoosh. The 10 god-killing arrows were like arrows, rushing directly towards the main ship. Bang, bang, bang. There were countless loud noises, and the main ship was shot into a sieve and was completely damaged. Alien scum, surrender quickly, Chu-Yi shouted aggressively, his voice as harsh as a sharp sword. However, Chu-Yi's call did not receive any response. If you don't come out, I will rush in. He shouted again, his voice full of threats. HMPH. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Chu-Yi snorted coldly and resolutely stepped into the interior of the main ship. However, the sight in front of him made his hair stand on end. This is it. Chu-Yi's eyes suddenly widened. There was a dead silence here, like a cold tomb. Bodies were scattered on the ground, lying in various directions, with mutilated limbs, and blood and pieces of flesh mixed together, creating a horrific scene. The lounge and recreation room were equally desolate, with the stench of carrion and the smell of death filling the air. Who is so cruel? He killed these aliens so cruelly and inhumanly. Chu-Yi's heart was filled with shock. He felt an unspeakable evil aura that made him shudder. On the other side, Anna and her teammates also successfully solved problems on other small starships. Half an hour later, everyone gathered in front of the star battleship group. Anna was the first to speak. She sighed and said to Chu-Yi, all the aliens on those starships are dead, and their bodies are unrecognizable. The fat man frowned and asked in confusion, Brother Chu, what happened? Nangong Shirong's eyes were full of confusion and she said, it's so strange. These aliens were obviously attacked by some evil creature. Chu-Yi shrugged his shoulders and said with a wry smile, I don't know. Anyway, the alien threat has been solved by us now. Let's go back and discuss it in detail. After saying that, they flew directly in the direction of Blue Star. At this moment, in Spark City, the special forces of superpowers established a branch in the core area of the city. The design of the branch is very simple and military style. The walls are pure white, with no extra decorations, only a huge map marking important locations and tasks. The room is neatly arranged with tables, chairs and computer equipment, and every corner reveals a serious and efficient atmosphere. The design and layout of this branch perfectly demonstrates their professionalism and strength as a special forces unit. Xiaoxing, what happened? Feng Qingyan stared at Tang Xiaoxing closely, her eyes full of doubts. Tang Xiaoxing replied in a serious tone, the alien interstellar battleship group has been completely destroyed. Feng Qingyan's brows were furrowed, and there was no doubt in her voice as she said, it must have been Chu-Yi who did it. That's the kind of person he is. No, there are other creatures. Tang Xiaoxing shook his head, with helplessness in his tone. It was the Kunpeng group who destroyed the starship, but it was a mysterious creature that killed the aliens. Feng Qingyan asked in surprise. Can't you even see clearly with your starry sky eyes? Tang Xiaoxing smiled bitterly and said, yes, the situation is extremely strange. It seems to be a creature we have never seen before. Alas, Feng Qingyan sighed, her face full of anxiety and worry. It's been such a troubled time. We must do our best to track this mysterious creature and not let it interfere with our Spark Centenary plan. Any negative impact. Tang Xiaoxing looked at Feng Qingyan firmly and replied without hesitation, I understand, team leader. I will do my best to live up to your trust in me. On the other side, Chu Yi and others encountered trouble. They were blocked by a strange creature. The creature looks like a giant mantis, shrouded in black, as if one with the universe. However, its chilling features are the pair of sharp black scythes and wings that emit black gas. If you don't observe it carefully, I'm afraid no one in this vast space will notice its existence. Chu Yi stared at the mantis closely and asked, what are you? However, Mantis remained indifferent and actually attacked Chu Yi directly. Attacking directly, Chu Yi reacted instantly, holding the god-killing spear tightly in his hand, firmly resisting the ferocious attack of the mantis's sharp scythe, god-killing spear technique, primordial origin promise style. However, Chu Yi did not intend to just defend without attacking. Chu Yi waved the god-killing spear in his hand and started a fierce battle with Mantis. But the strange thing is that whenever Chu Yi is about to attack the mantis, it will suddenly disappear, just like Moe Ocean's moves. This is actually the power of space. Chu Yi was shocked. He held the god-killing spear tightly in his hand, sweat dripping from his forehead, and his eyes shone with perseverance. Xiao Na, what are you doing in a daze? Come and help. He reminded Anna to come to assist, eagerly looking forward to her help. Oh, here we come. Anna nodded blankly, understood instantly, and quickly rushed to Chu Yi's side. Chu Yi knew that only by relying on Anna's speed could it be possible to attack this monster. At the same time, he turned to Fatty and Nangong Shirong and shouted, Fatty, Nangong Shirong, you are responsible for the containment, don't let this monster escape. Yes, Fatty and Nangong Shirong responded immediately and quickly rushed to both sides of the mantis, trying to trap it. Both of them are experienced combatants and are no strangers to such tasks. Chu Yi activated the primordial origin doppelganger technique, and 10 figures instantly appeared, each of which condensed his powerful strength and skills. They quickly approached the mantis and launched fierce attacks. Mantis's sickle was constantly hitting the god-killing spear in Chu Yi's hand, making a metallic sound. Every collision is accompanied by a splash of sparks, making people feel like they are in a fierce battle of life and death. Chu Yi felt Anna hugging his back tightly, and their speed accelerated rapidly. This guy is too good at evading. Anna, use the fastest speed. Chu Yi reminded loudly. Okay, Anna responded, and in an instant she activated all her strength, allowing their speed to reach the limit, exceeding the speed of light. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly and felt Anna's firm speed support behind her. He swung it hard, and the tip of the gun pierced the shattering void air, letting out a cold howl. Die, you monster! Chu Yi roared, constantly launching sharp attacks. His posture is strong, and every move he makes is full of power and accuracy. Suddenly, Chu Yi felt that the god-killing gun hit its target. The joy of victory surged in his heart, and he continued to attack without hesitation. Success! Sure enough, the only martial arts in the world that can't be defeated is speed. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 111. Anna lay behind Chu Yi and asked softly, Chu Yi, did you succeed? Chu Yi gritted his teeth and replied resolutely, just speed up. Leave the rest to me, this mantis is so weird. The mantis monster in front of him behaved strangely, and Chu Yi's god-killing spear seemed to have already attacked. However, the evil spirit emitted from the tip of the gun could not penetrate into the body of this monster. Impossible, the evil spirit of the god-killing spear has never failed. Chu Yi felt uneasy. I don't believe it anymore. I can't kill you, this mantis. In an instant, Chu Yi's whole body was filled with strong evil energy, and he collided with the mantis monster again. However, because of this, Chu Yi became more and more excited. This mantis is extremely weird. Chu Yi has noticed that it contains the power of space and may even have the ability to become invisible. Imagine how much improvement Chuyi would have if he could swallow this mantis. That would be the power of space. Let you see my new move. Chuyi whispered to himself, and then he shouted loudly, Primordial Origin Thunder Flame Form. Suddenly, the power of thunder and lightning surged all over Chuyi's body, and the power of thunder and lightning filled all around him, forming a heart-stopping energy storm. The terrifying primordial origin thunder flames erupted from his whole body, but this thunder flames did not affect Anna on Chuyi's back. Chuyi's whole body flashed quickly like lightning. His body was wrapped in lightning, exuding an amazing power and majesty, as if he could easily destroy all enemies standing in front of him. Primordial Origin Thunder Flame Form is a new move recently conceived by Chuyi. It can strengthen the thunder flame energy to the extreme in the primordial origin form, which is much more powerful than the previous thunder flame form. Sometimes, it is not necessary to use all powers equally. Focusing on the power of a certain power may bring more powerful power. He continued to launch frantic attacks on the mantis, using the god-killing spear technique, primordial origin. Boom, boom, boom. Countless thunder sounds exploded, and every move carried the terrifying power of primordial origin's thunder flames. Sure enough, the power of primordial origin's thunder flame is effective on it. Chuyi thought in surprise. He witnessed Mantis' figure gradually slowing down, which was exactly the effect produced by the power of the primordial origin's thunder flames. The high temperature and paralysis effects brought by the thunder flames were immediately displayed. Next, every move by Chuyi hit Mantis accurately. Ouch, ouch, ouch. The Mantis kept roaring. As Chuyi lay and attacked, the Mantis became weaker and weaker. It's not red blood. However, Chuyi noticed that black gas was flowing out of the Mantis, and it was not red blood, which was very strange. Chuyi didn't care about that much, and directly used the devouring power in his body. Your power belongs to me, the evil energy swallows it up. As Chuyi's words fell, he saw the evil energy raging and devouring crazily in the Mantis' body. After a long time, the Mantis was finally completely wiped out and disappeared into the vast universe. Ha ha ha. Now, let's go back to Spark City to discuss the matter in the long run. Chuyi said excitedly, his voice full of excitement. Immediately afterwards, everyone quickly returned to Spark City. Chuyi eagerly returned to his comfortable room, ready to concentrate on training. Chuyi and Anna sat down in the room, closed their eyes, and concentrated on practicing. Their minds are completely immersed in their own cultivation. Chuyi swallowed this strange mantis with excitement and felt the power from it. This mantis possesses the power of space that Chuyi even covets. This is the ability that Chuyi has always dreamed of. Unexpectedly, it fell into his hands so easily. Chuyi felt as if he had been favored by fate. Chuyi sat cross-legged on the ground, constantly absorbing the power swallowed from the mantis. He took a deep breath and felt the power of space pouring into his body. The space around him began to slowly distort, as if controlled by his power. It turned out to be space distortion. It turned out to be the power of space. Chuyi's mood was full of wonder and joy. He felt that he had finally mastered the power of space. The spatial distortion lasted for a long time, and then the power of space in Chuyi's body fragmented, and he felt as if he was being torn apart. This is a sign of space fragmentation. If Chuyi's physical body is not strong enough, he may pay the price with his life. No, it turned out to be space fragmentation. This danger made him feel nervous, but his faith and determination for power allowed him to continue to bear all this firmly. Chuyi's body began to tremble, his blood boiled, and a strong wave of energy emitted from his body. His eyes were firm and unflinching, as if burning with perseverance. Come on, I still don't believe that I can't control you with such a small power of space. Chuyi was not afraid in his heart. He knew that only through this painful exercise could he truly control the power of space. The tearing of space lasted for a long time. Finally, the pain of space fragmentation stopped, and Chuyi felt as if his body had been reassembled. It's successful. It's actually successful. Great. He slowly opened his eyes, with a dazzling light shining in his eyes. He knew that he had mastered the power of space. The power of space allows Chuyi to instantly hide in another mysterious space and disappear from the enemy's sight. He can also create his own space with his own hands, just like Moeocean did back then, showing endless magical power. More importantly, he can master the ability to teleport through constant training, which is a rare and unique power in the world. Imagine that Chuyi can move from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Whether it is to quickly escape the enemy's pursuit or quickly reach an important location, he can easily master this magical skill. As long as he keeps working hard, he will become the true master of the power of space. Chuyi raised his eyebrows, a sly smile appeared on the corner of his lips, and said to himself, "It's wonderful, the power of this space is simply too powerful, hehehehe." He glanced at Anna, who was concentrating on her practice beside him, but without disturbing her practice, he silently activated the power of space. A magical scene unfolded before his eyes. In an instant, Chuyi arrived at his office in Spark City as if he had transmigrated time and space. This is his ability to teleport, although he can only jump to relatively close places for the time being. However, Chuyi firmly believes that in the future, he will eventually be able to transmigrate the entire universe with just one thought. What a supreme power that would be! In the Spark City office, Chuyi thought again and gathered a force of space in his palm. He worked hard to open up a small space and felt the wonderful feeling of power condensing in his hands. Slowly, a tiny space crack appeared in front of Chuyi's eyes. This space is like a miniature cube, only 1 cubic meter in size. However, this tiny space contains endless mysterious power. Chuyi took a deep breath, his heart filled with excitement. He knew that only by practicing more, using it continuously, and improving his realm could this space become more powerful. And an even more magical scene unfolded in Chuyi's body. The power of space was continuously integrated into the core of Chuyi's primordial origin, as if an invisible thread closely connected them. Suddenly, the primordial origin core changed. The originally extremely weird primordial origin core was integrated with the power of space, making it appear even more mysterious. However, while all this was happening, the world-destroying Black Lotus seed seemed unmoved. It seemed to have nothing to do with everything around it, as if it was in another world. No matter what kind of temptation it is, it appears extremely indifferent, as if it is indifferent to everything in the outside world. At this moment, Tang Xiaoxing suddenly appeared at the door of Chuyi's office. She walked into the room, stared at Chuyi in disbelief, and asked, "Team Leader Kunpeng, did you really kill that unknown creature?" Chuyi was shocked. He didn't expect that Tang Xiaoxing would have such news. Her news channels seemed to be extremely well informed. "Yes, it's just a slightly strange mantis." Chuyi smiled slightly and didn't care. Tang Xiaoxing nodded and said gratefully, "Since the second spiritual energy recovery, Blue Star has had one after another problems. Thank you for solving such a big trouble." Chuyi waved his hand and said humbly, "You are too polite. We are all compatriots and should help each other." Then, Chuyi and Tang Xiaoxing chatted for a long time and learned some important matters about the Spark Centennial Plan. Back in his room, Chuyi looked at Anna, who was practicing. He also sat cross-legged, started running the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, and started practicing. At this moment, the primordial origin core in his body contains the power of water, wood, poison, ice, thunder, fire, metal, extreme speed and space. The primordial origin core is as bright as a star, hovering in the dantian of Chuyi's body. His soul series abilities include the God-Killing Spear and the God-Killing Sword, both of which are powerful weapons that shake the world, but they have not reached their peak yet. The primordial origin Wuji Gong fuses the 8-9 Mysterious Gong and the 9-turn Mysterious Gong, making his power reach an astonishing level. At the same time, he was also practicing the Tianju sword technique, an extremely advanced swordsmanship. This was the swordsmanship brought by Xiao Tianju's spiritual species, and it was extremely exquisite. Facing this Black Lotus seed of destruction, which was as arrogant as the second uncle, Chuyi tried his best, but still couldn't sense the slightest movement. What conditions do the seeds of the world-destroying Black Lotus need to grow? Chuyi thought anxiously, and couldn't help but sigh, as the world-destroying Black Lotus, the prehistoric innate spirit treasure, even a single seed, so terrifying. A firm light flashed in Chuyi's eyes, determined not to back down easily. He took a deep breath, concentrated, and began to carefully observe the Black Lotus seed. He discovered that this seed exuded a strong dark aura, as if it were a ball of bound black smoke condensed into a solid entity. He began to listen to the sound of the seed, closing his eyes and immersing himself in it. Gradually, Chu Yi's heart moved, and he decided to use his own energy to water the world-destroying black lotus seeds. He concentrated all the energy in his body and injected it into the world-destroying black lotus seed. In this way, Chu Yi was immersed in cultivation, day after day, and a month passed quietly. Suddenly, Chu Yi opened his eyes suddenly, and a powerful aura erupted like a volcano, shocking the surrounding area. Alas, although my strength has improved, I still can't find the threshold to break through to the star core stage. This feeling is really unpleasant. Chu Yi sighed helplessly and said to himself with a helpless face, and this world-destroying black lotus, I have poured so much energy into it, but I still can't activate it on my own. It seems, there is an insurmountable chasm between it and me. What is going on? Ever since Chu Yi awakened his powers, his breakthrough speed could be described as very fast, which made him feel this way. Generally speaking, if anyone wants to break through to the star core stage, it will take tens to hundreds of years of energy accumulation. He looked around his room, only to find that Anna was no longer in the room. Chu Yi said to himself, by the way, the bidding meeting for the Spark Centenary plan should have started. He quickly left the room and walked towards the Spark building. The Spark building is located in the core of Spark City and is a landmark building in the city. It is made of liquid metal and has the ability to self-heal, both of which are technologies and materials provided by Labas. In theory, the building would never collapse and would repair itself if damaged. It can be said that this building is a masterpiece once and for all. After a while, on the top floor of the Spark building, there was a grand hall. Feng Qingyan, Anna, Fatty, Nangong Shirong, Tang Xiaoxing and others were gathering together to discuss important matters. Suddenly, Chu Yi appeared in a flash. When Anna saw Chu Yi, her eyes instantly lit up. She rushed forward without hesitation and hugged Chu Yi tightly. Chu Yi, I miss you so much. Kiss, Anna whispered softly, and her shy manner made people feel loving. Ahem. Chu Yi coughed a few times with a hint of embarrassment, and reminded with some embarrassment, Anna, pay attention to the occasion, pay attention to the occasion. Chu Yi, you're finally here. Feng Qingyan suddenly interrupted their loving scene and said firmly, tomorrow is the bidding meeting for the Spark Centenary plan. Chu Yi asked curiously, oh, who are the people participating? Feng Qingyan explained in detail. This is because several important families, such as Shangguan family, Ouyang family and Dongfang family, represent Shangguan group, Ouyang group and Dongfang group respectively. In addition to these transcendent level families, there are some family groups with greater influence, such as the Li group, etc. Chu Yi asked in surprise, will the Shangguan family also participate? Feng Qingyan replied firmly, of course, Spark City is the focus of the world's attention now. Chu Yi continued to ask, how are things going in the Shang country? Feng Qingyan said confidently, no need to worry, with the relationship between you and Anna, Shang country will agree to it soon. Chu Yi asked, how are the design drawings prepared? Feng Qingyan replied with a smile, of course, the Spark Centennial plan is not that simple. Her voice was full of confidence and determination, making people have confidence in her. As he finished speaking, Tang Xiaoxing suddenly took out the design drawings of the future Spark City. Chu Yi's eyes wandered on the design drawings, and he could not ignore the huge scale of Spark City. The city's borders stretched to the end of the desert in front of us, seemingly encircling the entire area. Gazing at the intricate roads and buildings on the drawing, he seemed to be able to sense the infinite potential contained in the city. But what surprised him most was that all the buildings would be made of liquid metal, an incredible luxury. Feng Qingyan noticed Chu Yi's exclamation, and she explained with a smile, the goal of the Spark Centenary plan is to build a modern and prosperous city to provide a better living environment and development opportunities for the people of the Dragon Kingdom. We want to build a modern and prosperous city in this area. To create a busy and vibrant city in the desolate desert. Chu Yi was moved by Feng Qingyan's confidence, and he couldn't help but have confidence in this plan. He looked at the detailed annotations on the design drawings and felt the designer's careful consideration of every detail. Spark City will include multiple functional areas such as residential areas, business centers, and technology parks, providing residents with a comfortable living environment and convenient business services. Tang Xiaoxing continued to explain. Xingwo City will have advanced infrastructure and a green and environmentally friendly concept. We will build large-scale solar power stations and use renewable energy to provide the power needed by the city. At the same time, we will also establish a more complete transportation network to promote the development of the city and the flow of people. Chu Yi felt a surge of excitement in his heart. He realized that Spark City was not just a city, but also a vision and hope for the future, which made him full of expectations and confidence in this plan. Feng Qingyan looked at Chu Yi's expression and knew that he had been attracted by the design drawings. She said encouragingly, "Chu Yi, we will build a city full of vitality and hope and bring a better tomorrow to the people of Dragon Kingdom. Your efforts and contributions will be the key to the success of this plan." Chu Yi took a deep breath and decided to go all out to contribute to the construction of Spark City. He believes that this plan will change the future of the Dragon Kingdom and allow the people to live a happier and more prosperous life. Chu Yi frowned, thought for a moment and then said, "Although Labas gave me these techniques, it is quite difficult to master them." His tone revealed concern about technical difficulties. "The most important thing is, have we mastered liquid metal technology?" Chu Yi continued to ask. He was very concerned about this issue. Feng Qingyan shook her head slightly. "Of course. I don't know. Otherwise, how could we invite the entire Dragon Kingdom to tender? Since the revival of spiritual energy, our Blue Star's technological level has been stagnant." Feng Qingyan sighed, feeling helpless about Blue Star's technological development. "So that's it, I understand." Chu Yi suddenly realized. He understood in his heart that in order to realize the Spark Centennial Plan, a technological breakthrough is needed, and the technological level of the entire Blue Star needs to be improved. Chu Yi raised his eyebrows curiously and asked, "Why are these transcendent-level families flocking to Spark City?" Feng Qingyan stared at Chu Yi and said firmly, "The reason why they came here is actually because of you. Maybe you haven't realized it yet, but now you have become the most shining superpower in the Dragon Kingdom, comparable." Feng Qingyan paused for a moment and continued to explain. "They are interested in Spark City because they see its potential. This is our biggest advantage." Chu Yi nodded deeply, showed a confident expression, and said firmly, "I understand, I know what to do." Anna looked at Chu Yi expectantly and said excitedly, "Chu Yi, I believe in you, you will definitely be able to realize your dream." Chu Yi felt a little moved, but he didn't expect Anna to believe in him so much. Just like that, time flies by. In the early morning of the next day, the sun had just risen, and the grand hall on the top floor of the Spark building was bustling with activity. The bidding meeting for the Centennial Spark project was about to begin. Everyone had arrived, and the atmosphere was tense and exciting. In the Shangguan family, Shangguan Lingwei, as the representative of the Shangguan group, is dressed in decent professional attire, which not only highlights her intellectual beauty but also shows her confidence and charm. Dongfang family, Dongfang Yuro, as the female president of Dongfang Group, has a domineering aura that people dare not underestimate. She is followed by a group of women in business attire with outstanding temperament, which demonstrates the strength and majesty of Dongfang Group. Ouyang family, Ouyang Shaolin of the Oriental Group wore a sexy and fashionable black outfit, which was in sharp contrast to the others. Her appearance seemed to bring a unique atmosphere to the entire hall. Xuanyuan Yi, wearing a mighty and domineering battle robe, greeted Chu Yi with a smile. "Brother Chu. I'm here." Chu Yi also accidentally discovered Li Shui's figure. She was actually standing in the crowd as a representative of the Li group. In addition, there were many other people representing major groups. The hall was crowded and lively, and the scene was grand. At this moment, Chu Yi sat quietly in the corner, staring intently at the representatives of major groups on the stage. Representatives of these large groups are dressed in gorgeous costumes and have outstanding temperament. Chu Yi saw this scene for the first time and couldn't help but marveled. He couldn't help but sigh and murmured to himself, "Oh, if I could have had the wealth of any of them in my previous life." After a while, Tang Xiaoxing walked up to the podium. She warmly welcomed every group representative and officially announced the start of the bidding meeting for the Spark Centennial Plan. "Dear group representatives, welcome to the Spark Centenary Plan bidding meeting. The detailed plan was announced on the internet a month ago." Tang Xiaoxing's voice was clear and powerful. She paused and then said, "Now, we will find some qualified and powerful groups or people and let them participate in the Spark Centennial Plan." The atmosphere in the audience instantly ignited, and people talked excitedly. Shangguan Lingwei stood up and said confidently, our Shangguan Group promises to develop finished product technology based on the liquid metal technology drawings within 10 years. These words amazed everyone. This is liquid metal technology, the strength of Shangguan Group cannot be underestimated. Then, Dongfang Euro stood up and said confidently, we at Dongfang Group will solve a series of technical problems in the Spark project drawings within 50 years. Everyone can feel the determination and strength of the Eastern Group, and their goal seems to be close at hand. Our Ouyang Group will fully complete the infrastructure required for the Spark Centennial Plan within 50 years. Ouyang Shaolin then expressed his thoughts. That's awesome. This is Ouyang Group. People in the audience began to applaud warmly. Ouyang Group's commitment was convincing. At this critical moment, Xuanyuan stood up resolutely. His voice resounded like thunder throughout the entire venue, full of unparalleled domineering. On behalf of myself, I swear to ensure the smooth progress of the Spark Centennial Plan. Keep your plan safe and secure. His bold words instantly conquered everyone present, making them inclined to believe in his ability and sincerity. I agree. Just when everyone was curiously asking about Xuanyuan Yi's identity, Chu Yi's voice suddenly sounded like spring thunder. The next day, the bidding meeting for the Spark Centenary Plan took a whole day, and the participants continued to discuss it, and finally came to an end and officially came to an end. However, what is surprising is that the Shangguan family finally decided to join this plan, and more than a dozen families such as the Dongfang family and Ouyang family also chose to join, which surprised Chu Yi. What surprised him even more was that his colleague Xuanyuan Yi came in person to protect the Xingwo Centennial Plan. As the leader of the special force of superpowers, Xuanyuan Yi had a prominent position and was so condescending, which made Chu Yi both surprised and grateful. You didn't expect, Chu Yi, that our Shangguan family would come. Just when Chu Yi was shocked, Shangguan Lingwei's voice sounded beside him. Of course I knew you would come. I am no longer the same person I used to be. I created the entire Spark City. Chu Yi said with a smile, and then his face suddenly softened, trying to convince Shangguan Lingwei, moreover, I believe that you are a kind person. You were just a disguise on the surface. The real you must be kind. How about you join us? Quote. HMPH. Shangguan Lingwei snorted coldly and said to Chu Yi as if preaching, Chu Yi, you are still so naive, stop trying to brainwash me, it is meaningless. Chu Yi said with an extremely firm expression, I believe that you will fight for the common people and those weak existences in the future. HMPH. I'm too lazy to talk to you bitch. Shangguan Lingwei snorted disdainfully and turned away indifferently. Chu Yi looked at Shangguan Lingwei leaving, smiled bitterly and shrugged his shoulders, expressing his helplessness about all this. At this moment, in the dark space on the other side of the galaxy, a low and hoarse voice echoed, the alien mantis has been killed, and its location is in the Laniakea super galaxy cluster. This voice seemed to come from the abyss, full of hatred and determination. Another cold voice mocked contemptuously. Humph, it loves taking risks when it is just born. It is looking for death. This voice was like a biting cold wind, with disdain and indifference towards the weak. No matter what, it is also a member of our race, and we must avenge it. The low and hoarse voice continued to sound firmly. This voice contained the persistence of ethnic discipline and responsibility, as if it was an unshakable belief. Ikora, you just like to wade in muddy waters. There are so many alien species in the universe, can you really control them? An unusually cold voice suddenly sounded, with a hint of disdain and ridicule in its voice, as if mocking Ikora's naivety and adventurous spirit. HMPH. Ikora snorted coldly. Ape with different eyes, you are also a heterogeneous species. Don't you care about the life and death of your fellow species? Don't you think we should support each other and develop together? Its voice revealed its concern for the belief in the unity and mutual aid of the same race inspires a force of faith that seems to call for the unity and progress of all alien species. Ah ha 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 ha. The strange-eyed ape laughed, it's that second-rate mantis. It dies when it dies. It still requires us to avenge it. It's so ridiculous. It's such a waste of such a good talent. His voice was full of ridicule and disdain. HMPH, I will send some alien species to avenge it, and you need to send your men too. Ikora said coldly, her tone cold and firm. Ah ha ha ha. The strange-eyed ape laughed disdainfully when he heard the words. The voice seemed to come from the abyss. Impossible, revenge is your business. It has nothing to do with me. There was obvious disdain and sarcasm in his voice. The voice of the strange-eyed ape paused for a moment, and then continued, also, don't bother me with such insignificant things in the future. Its voice was cold and selfish. As soon as he finished speaking, the figure completely disappeared. At this moment, Chu Yi, who was in Spark City, felt a chill coming over him, and his body shivered involuntarily. Anna noticed something strange about Chu Yi and asked with concern, Chu Yi, what's wrong with you? Is there any problem? Chu Yi tried to hide his uneasiness and said lightly, it's nothing, it's just a little cold. Anna didn't believe Chu Yi's answer. How could it be cold at this level? But she didn't plan to ask more. When are we going to Ram Star? Blue Star is really too small and not fun. After Chu Yi pondered for a moment, he replied, about 5 months later. Anna, do you have an ominous premonition? It seems that something bad is about to happen. Anna shook her head in confusion and said, no. Chu Yi, what's wrong with you? Your expression is so ugly. What happened? Chu Yi held Anna's hand tightly, with a look in his eyes. Determination. If one day, I am no longer here, don't be afraid, don't worry, because sooner or later, I will come back. Hui Yi took a deep breath, and there was a hint of warmth and determination in his voice. The power that transcends time and space seems to promise an incredible miracle. However, the warning signs in Chu Yi's heart became stronger and stronger, as if there was an invisible force warning him of the danger he was about to face. His brows were furrowed, and there was a trace of uneasiness and worry in his eyes. Anna was close to Chu Yi, her eyes full of firmness and commitment. Chu Yi, no, it will be okay, we will be together forever. Her voice revealed a sense of strength and belief, as if swearing an oath for their future. Their eyes met, and at that moment, the two hearts were tightly connected, and each other's existence became each other's greatest support. Chu Yi smiled and said to Anna, okay, now it's time to meet your father. Anna was a little surprised and asked, so fast? Chu Yi replied with a smile, of course, how can we not be anxious about this kind of thing, hee. There was a hint of ridicule in his laughter. Don't you expect me to see your father? He stared at Anna, with a hint of provocation in his charming eyes. There was a special magic in his eyes, which caused a blush on Anna's cheeks. Anna's little face turned red, and she said coquettishly, go. It's so annoying. She avoided Chu Yi's sight, but she couldn't hide her inner joy. Ha ha ha. Chu Yi laughed and said, wait for my good news. There was a kind of confidence in his laughter. An hour later, Chu Yi faced the Great Emperor of the Bear Kingdom in the office of the Great Emperor of the Bear Kingdom. He felt the powerful momentum of the Great Emperor. It was indeed extraordinary to be the ruler of a country. His presence made people feel extremely solemn and majestic. It is not the momentum of a realm, but the momentum of a ruler. There was a trace of worry in the tone of the Shang Kingdom's Great Emperor, and he asked, Chu Yi, I only have one daughter, tell me, how do you plan to treat her? Chu Yi replied with some embarrassment, well, it seems that she pursued me and I was forced to accept it. There was a hint of helplessness and humor in his voice. Ahem. Hearing this, the Great Emperor of the Shang Kingdom coughed twice, a little embarrassed that this unlucky daughter actually chased a man. But now it's a done deal and cannot be changed. No matter what, you are already together. The Great Emperor of the Bear Kingdom said calmly, with a kind of tacit approval and acceptance implicit in his tone. Chu Yi solemnly replied, I will protect her well, I promise you. His tone was full of firm determination. The Great Emperor of the Shang Kingdom looked at Chu Yi and said in a deep voice, although you are very strong now, you still need to be tested. Come out. Following his order, 10 powerful auras appeared, and 10 powers appeared. The victims appeared in the office, and all of them were metamorphosis superpowers. Chu Yi was a little surprised. Could it be that everyone above rank 9 has become a cabbage? The Shang country has such a profound foundation. This is my strongest bodyguard. As long as you can defeat them, I will marry Anna to you. The domineering voice of the Great Emperor of the Bear Kingdom echoed in the hall. When Chu Yi heard this, a faint smile appeared on his face and said, what's so difficult about this? Let your horse come over. Immediately afterwards, they came to a vast martial arts field. Chu Yi's eyes flashed, and he immediately entered the primordial origin form. The aura on his body burst out instantly, burning like a raging flame. A strange aura danced in his eyes, making people's hearts palpitate like a raging fire. 10 superpowers rushed toward him, and 11 rays of light entangled in the sky at a speed that was elusive. Primordial origin ice and thunder form. Chu Yi raised his head, and suddenly, the ice and thunder on his body merged, and the power of ice and thunder merged perfectly. Speed and control complement each other. In just 10 minutes, Chu Yi defeated all 10 superpowers like a torrent. His figure was tall and majestic, like the towering peak of a mountain, and the glory of victory shone constantly on him. The great emperor of the Shang kingdom saw this scene and said approvingly, "Very good, Chu Yi, you are really strong. I am very relieved that my daughter is following you." His eyes revealed a kind of satisfaction and relief, and he was infinitely satisfied with Chu Yi's strength. Chu Yi said gratefully, "I am very grateful to the great emperor of Shang country for trusting me." Later, Chu Yi had a long conversation with the great emperor of the Bear Kingdom, covering the construction of Spark City, its future development, and the marriage issues between Chu Yi and Anna. To Chu Yi's delight, the great emperor of the Bear Kingdom did not stop him from taking Anna away to other planets. The great emperor of the Shang Kingdom said with emotion, "I believe in you, Chu Yi of the Dragon Kingdom. Among the young people I have seen, you have the strongest potential and a bright future." After a long time, Chu Yi returned to Spark City with excitement on his face, where Anna was waiting for his return. "I succeeded." Chu Yi raised his hands high and announced with joy. Anna asked expectantly, "Really?" There was an urgent desire in her eyes, hoping to hear the answer that would make her heart beat. "Ha ha ha." Chu Yi put his hands on his hips and laughed, completely showing the appearance of an innocent child. His laughter was as sweet and moving as a clear spring, as if it could melt all the cold hearts. "Of course, your father has agreed." His voice was full of confidence and joy, as if he was announcing this exciting news to the world. "That's great, Chu Yi, I love you." Anna was ecstatic, and her mood was as beautiful as a blooming flower. She was speechless with excitement and could only hug Chu Yi tightly. The embrace was so full of her love and gratitude for him that it seemed to absorb all her emotions into it. Chu Yi felt the softness on her chest and realized her graceful figure, which made him feel a little hot. He patted Anna's head gently and said with a gentle face, Okay, our marriage has been confirmed, it will be in 10 days. Chu Yi had never had the experience of getting married in his previous life. What a big event. He never thought that one day he would be able to marry a wife, and he couldn't help but look forward to it. Hearing this, Anna nodded shyly, with a blush on her face. 3 days passed in a hurry, and finally, Chu Yi sat in the chaotic world of the Chaos Bead, and the figure of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable appeared in front of him. He could clearly feel the worry and uneasiness of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable. "Chu Yi, I noticed that you were in trouble." Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable's voice echoed in the space. Chu Yi was so nervous that he couldn't help but ask, "Teacher Yuanshi, what happened? Why are you so worried?" Chu Yi is full of gratitude to Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, although he is just an idea of Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, not the real body. But Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable gave him endless teachings, which is why Chu Yi decided to worship him as his teacher. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable continued, "You must become stronger as soon as possible, you are still too weak." Chu Yi asked, "Who is causing trouble for me?" Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable said with some worry, "These monsters are all alien species in this universe, and they have murderous intentions towards you. The mantis you killed is one of them." Chu Yi suddenly realized, it turned out to be the weird mantis I killed. "Teacher Yuanshi, what should I do?" Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable said solemnly, "I predict that they will find this blue star within 50 years. You must become as powerful as possible within 50 years. Chu Yi felt that there was still plenty of time, and said confidently, 50 years. That's still early, and there is still plenty of time. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable took a deep look at Chu Yi and said, "Chu Yi, do you think 50 years is a long time?" Chu Yi thought for a moment and said uncertainly, "Of course, 50 years is not a short time. That's 50 years. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable said calmly, "Don't be too naive, 50 years is insignificant to a prehistoric monk. Also, bring your Taoist companion in, she will be your help in the future." Chu Yi asked with some worry, "Teacher Yuanshi, do you want to teach Anna personally? Isn't it too risky to do so? After all, we are now in the world in the Chaos Bead." Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable noticed Chu Yi's worries and said calmly, although the chaos bead is a chaos treasure, it cannot play its true role until the owner reaches the great principal golden immortal. Moreover, I have buried the chaos bead and no one can take it away from you. 7 days later, the wedding party was held grandly at a luxurious venue in Bear Country. Anna and Chu Yi dressed up to attend. The newlyweds were facing the most important moment in their lives. Chu Yi grew up in an orphanage, so he specially invited Fatty, Nangong Shirong, Xiao Tianju, Feng Qingyan, Xuanyuan Yi, Lin Xiaoqi and others to come to the scene. These people are worthy of him, trust people. And many of Anna's relatives and friends have also arrived, including the great emperor of the Bear Kingdom. Chu Yi is not very familiar with the people here, except for the only person they are familiar with, and Leah, a medical superpower from the Shang Kingdom. The melody of music floated throughout the party, and the cheerful rhythms immersed people in it. Anna's graceful figure danced gracefully on the dance floor, and her wedding dress shone charmingly under the light. Chu Yi stood aside, his eyes full of appreciation and pride, because he knew that he had this woman who made his heart beat in this life. In the bar nearby, Fatty and Nangong Shirong toasted together. Fatty's belly swayed during the toast, which caused a burst of laughter. Xiao Tianju was sitting on the sofa, the red wine in his hand exuding a rich aroma. He looked at Chu Yi and Anna with a faint smile, silently blessing their happiness. At the party, Anna's relatives and friends surrounded her, and words of blessing were endless. The great emperor of Shang Kingdom personally toasted to the newlyweds with a smile. His tall figure and kind face made people feel his kindness. And Leah stood aside and nodded to Chu Yi with a smile. As the party reached its climax, fireworks bloomed in the night sky, and the brilliant colors reflected everyone's smiling faces. Anna and Chu Yi stood hand in hand in the center of the stage, their eyes met, as if the whole world had stopped. Their vows spread throughout the venue, and their warm words filled everyone's hearts, making people feel the power of love and commitment. At the end of the party, a moving song sounded in the hall. Anna and Chu Yi hugged each other tightly, their bodies swaying slightly, their eyes full of love and hope. Their joy infected everyone present, and everyone joined in this joyful dance. They used singing and dancing to express their blessings and love for the newlyweds. At the end of the party, people continued to smile nostalgically, knowing that this special moment would remain in their memories forever. When the sun rose the next day, Anna and Chu Yi's wedding party had become a favorite story in everyone's mouth and left a beautiful memory. In a luxurious room, on a soft big bed, Anna was wrapped tightly around Chu Yi's body. Chu Yi woke up slowly and said, "Anna, get up quickly, I have something very important to tell you." Anna was still half asleep and murmured vaguely, "Chu Yi, let me sleep a little longer. Your performance last night was amazing." Chu Yi said awkwardly, Okay. Time came to noon in a blink of an eye. Chu Yi, you have to be gentler from now on. Your strength is so amazing. I really don't know how you mastered it. It's so hard that I can't bear it and it's about to burst." Anna said. There was a hint of helplessness and mischief in her voice. After Chu Yi heard Anna's words, he couldn't help laughing, and the corners of his mouth raised a provocative arc. "Didn't you keep saying you want more, more, more? Now you blame me," Chu Yi teased. A blush flashed across Anna's face. She pouted her mouth and said dissatisfied, don't say this." Chu Yi suddenly said seriously, "Okay, now I have something very important to tell you, but first we have to agree that this is a top secret, and you can't tell anyone." After hearing this, Anna nodded seriously and said, "Okay, I understand." Chu Yi nodded gently, smiled and said to Anna, "Don't resist." Chu Yi gently put his hand on Anna's shoulder, and in an instant, they transmigrated into the chaotic world inside the chaos bead. The sight in front of Anna shocked her so much that she could hardly believe what she saw. "This is another world?" she asked, stammering. Chu Yi nodded with a smile and said, "Of course. This is a world of chaos." At this moment, a handsome figure with a hint of mature charm appeared in front of them, dressed in snow-white Taoist robes, with an immortal air and a Taoist spirit. That was Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable, Chu Yi's teacher. Anna asked slightly nervously, "Who is this?" Chu Yi proudly introduced, "This is my mentor, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable." He was full of pride in his heart, because it was a great honor for Chu Yi to have a saint as his teacher. Anna hurriedly saluted and said, it's a great honor to meet you, Teacher Yuanshi. Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable nodded, looked at Anna with satisfaction, and said, very good, you will be Chu Yi's Taoist companion. From now on, you will become a prehistoric monk. Anna asked doubtfully, Prince Monk, what does that mean? Chu Yi explained patiently, the great desolate world represents the chaos and infinity of another world. The great desolate monks are the strong men who cultivated in the prehistoric world. They are the real strong ones. Chu Yi looked at Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable in confusion. His voice was full of expectation and curiosity, and he said, Teacher, what kind of exercises should Anna practice to better improve her strength? Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable said calmly, well, let's start with the 8-9 mysterious technique and the innate 5 elements shield technique. Okay, then Anna will practice here. I still have some things to deal with. Chu Yi himself still has matters to deal with in Spark City, so he can only leave Anna here to continue practicing. Anna nodded, her eyes revealing firmness and determination, and said, okay, I will practice hard. Thus, Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable began to teach Anna. He guided Anna on the ancient path of cultivation in a step-by-step way. As Yuanshi Heavenly Venerable continued to explain, Anna slowly began to step into the threshold of cultivation and felt the magic of this chaotic world. She immersed herself in it and practiced step by step. Every practice made her feel stronger, as if the whole world was cheering for her growth. At this moment, Chu Yi had returned to Spark City. The hustle and bustle of the city made him feel familiar yet unfamiliar. Although everything went on as usual, there was one thing that bothered him, and that was Xiaobai. Chu Yi said to himself, hey, Xiaobai, I don't know how you are now, whether you are still alive. Deciding to find the answer, Chu Yi found Fatty, hoping that Fatty could provide some clues. Chu Yi stared at the fat man and asked, Fat man, do you remember Xiaobai? It's the little white tiger. Alas, the fat man sighed deeply and was stunned for a moment, then said with a wry smile, of course I remember it. I don't know where it is now. The hair on its body is very comfortable. It can't be dead. Xiaobai is definitely not dead. Don't talk nonsense, you crow's mouth. Chu Yi scolded with a straight face, then took a deep breath and continued to ask, do you still remember how Xiaobai got lost in the first place? Are there any strange phenomena or clues? The fat man shook his head, carefully recalled the original scene, and said with a hint of helplessness on his face, Xiaobai disappeared suddenly, as if he was swept away by some mysterious force. It was very strange. Upon hearing this, Chu Yi thought for a moment, and suddenly a bold guess arose in his heart. Xiaobai was most likely sent to another dimension. Although this guess has no conclusive evidence, it is one of the most reasonable explanations under the circumstances described by Fatty at the time. Chu Yi couldn't wait to arrive at the place designated by Fatty, which was located in the wasteland area in the middle of Dragon Kingdom. This place was where Xiaobai disappeared. Is this the place? Chu Yi searched carefully and thoroughly checked every corner around him. Suddenly, Chu Yi discovered a trace of space fluctuation. Sure enough, I guessed it right, this is a space crack. Chu Yi immediately used his space power, and gradually, a twisted space crack appeared in front of Chu Yi's eyes. This crack exudes the aura of powerful space power. If ordinary people stood here, they would definitely be torn apart by this space crack in an instant. But Chu Yi was in hesitation at this moment. He was weighing the pros and cons of going in to find out. You must know that space cracks are very dangerous. After a long period of thinking, Chu Yi finally made up his mind. After all, he now has the power of space, and there should not be much danger in entering this kind of space crack. Chu Yi resolutely stepped into the abyss of the space crack. In an instant, a sharp pain hit his body as if it was being torn apart, like countless sharp knives cutting into his skin. But Chu Yi, with the super-strong physical body of the god-killing demonic body and the endless vitality of the origin body, was able to withstand this level of pain. Although there was still some pain, it was nothing major. After a while, Chu Yi slowly opened his eyes, and what he saw was a lush forest. He tentatively used the power in his body, but was surprised to find that there were no strange beasts in this forest. How is it possible that there are no strange beasts? This is unbelievable. Chu Yi couldn't help but said to himself in surprise. He paused for a moment, with a look of confusion on his face. There seems to be different energy in the air. Could it be that I have arrived in another universe? Immediately afterwards, Chu Yi continued to deeply sense the surrounding environment, and was shocked to find that there was no trace of spiritual energy in this world. He couldn't help but wonder, this world was so similar to the earth in his previous life that it was almost unbelievable. Chu Yi's heart was in turmoil, and he muttered to himself suspiciously, "This is so weird, Xiao Bai has come to this world." In this way, Chu Yi walked aimlessly through the huge forest, and his eyes were filled with confusion. He noticed the presence of some animals, but found no trace of any strange beasts. Gradually, Chu Yi quickened his pace, and after a long time, he finally arrived at a city. This city shows a modern appearance, with high-rise buildings, supermarkets and shopping malls, and cars passing through it. It is obviously a city in the end of the Dharma era. However, there is no psychic presence in this city. Chu Yi looked at the people coming and going on the street, all of them were ordinary people without exception. Not even a single person with superpowers was seen. However, the most critical question right now is how to return to the original world. I knew I shouldn't have come here. It's so annoying, Chu Yi thought anxiously. He involuntarily stopped a passerby, a middle-aged man. Chu Yi asked politely, "Brother, where is this place? I seem to be lost." The middle-aged man said calmly, "Brother, you are from out of town, right? This is the pedestrian street of City H. If you go straight ahead, you will see the bus station. I wish you good luck." Chu Yi said gratefully, "Thank you very much." You're welcome, you're welcome." The middle-aged man smiled and said kindly, "We are all from the Dragon Kingdom, so it's natural to help each other." Afterwards, Chu Yi chatted with the middle-aged man for a while, then said goodbye and left. Through this conversation, Chu Yi learned that this world is 90% similar to the Earth he was on before, and there is basically no big difference. It seems that there are no superpowers in this world, so now the question is, how can I return to the original world? Chu Yi kept thinking in his mind. He had promised Labas that he would go to Labas within 2 years. Mu Xing helped them, but in the current situation, Chu Yi simply couldn't grasp the time accurately. After careful consideration, he made up his mind, I must go back within a year. At this moment, Chu Yi's keen ears caught a faint cry for help. The sound was as subtle as the chirping of mosquitoes, but for Chu Yi, a superpower and a monk from ancient times, his ability to perceive it was unparalleled. He looked around, his eyes scanning like lightning. Finally, he found several men controlling a woman in a luxury van. Judging from Chu Yi's previous life experience, this situation was either kidnapping or abducting women. This plot is too cliché. Kidnapping a certain lady and then blackmailing her father for money. Chu Yi followed the luxury van and saw it parked in an abandoned factory. He couldn't help but sneer in his heart, yes, that's definitely the case. After a while, Chu Yi lurked in the darkness, eyes fixed on what was happening. The eldest lady who was suspected to be a certain family was tightly tied to a chair and firmly fixed there. Let me go. If my father finds out, you will regret it. She struggled hard, her voice full of anger and threats. Yi Ruxi, you didn't expect that this day would happen to you too. One of the kidnappers smiled disdainfully, we have already contacted your father. Ha ha ha, don't worry, we just want to make money and won't kill you. Quote. Yi Ruxi cursed angrily. You despicable people, my father will never let you go. The kidnapper laughed and said, ha ha ha, you dare to threaten us. Do you think we don't dare to kill you? Just when Yi Ruxi was furious and wanted to say something more, Chu Yi appeared in front of them with boredom, still holding the god-killing sword tightly in his hand. Hey, are you making a movie? Chu Yi asked curiously with a face full of ridicule. Chu Yi's sudden appearance shocked the kidnappers and Yi Ruxi. The kidnapper stared at Chu Yi and asked warily, who are you? Ha ha, Chu Yi chuckled and said jokingly, ah, aren't you making a movie? The kidnapper said with a straight face, boy, stop meddling in your own business and get out. Chu Yi said calmly, is this your home? If you tell me to leave, am I going to leave? At the same time, Yi Ruxi shouted loudly, this handsome guy, I am the eldest lady of the Yi group. They are the kidnappers who kidnapped me. We are not filming. Please save me. I will thank you greatly later. Chu Yi didn't expect that he was just making a joke and the other party actually believed it. Suddenly, the 4 kidnappers immediately took out their guns and pointed them at Chu Yi's head. Boy, there is a road to heaven and you don't take it, and there is no door to hell and you break in. It's our fault. Several brutal kidnappers pulled the triggers fiercely. The sound of gunshots instantly cut through the air, and bullets rained down on Chu. Easy to pour down. However, at this critical moment, Chu Yi held the god-killing sword, and the dancing blade burst out with a charming cold light. In an instant, the loud sound of metal collision reverberated in the air like a symphony, and the bullet's attack was instantly destroyed. All resolved. In fact, even if Chu Yi only relied on his strong body, these few insignificant bullets could not cause any harm to him. He just wanted to take this opportunity to hone his sword skills on a whim. When the kidnappers saw such a scene, their eyes widened and they exclaimed, "This guy knows martial arts and is a legendary martial arts master." An impatient expression flashed across Chu Yi's face. He didn't want to talk nonsense with these kidnappers, after all, they were just after wealth. "Since you are only here for wealth, then leave quickly. I will not attack you," Chu Yi said in a cold tone, with firm determination shining in his eyes. After hearing Chu Yi's words, the kidnappers looked at each other in disbelief. They did not expect that this young man would choose to let them go. Fear struck their hearts out of nowhere, and they all threw down their trophies and hurriedly fled the scene, fearing that Chu Yi would regret it. At the same time, Chu Yi stood quietly, staring at Yi Ruxi in front of him. The god-killing sword in his hand danced, and a sharp sword energy effortlessly cut off the rope tied to her body. The rope fell apart instantly, and Yi Ruxi regained her freedom instantly. "Handsome guy, thank you for saving me. I wonder what your name is," Yi Ruxi said gratefully to Chu Yi. Chu Yi said indifferently, "It doesn't matter who I am, you can leave now." But Yi Ruxi was unwilling to leave just now. She said again, "Please go back with me. My father will definitely repay you well." "No need, saving you is just a temporary interest." Chu Yi's expression was still cold, as if he didn't care about the so-called reward. Yi Ruxi was surprised to find that the man in front of her was so cold and heartless. In City H, there is an endless stream of people pursuing her. After all, she is the eldest lady of the Yi group. Yi Ruxi asked unwillingly, "Are you really not going to come with me? My family is very, very rich." Chu Yi replied coldly, "Money. What I'm after is not money." Yi Ruxi continued unwillingly, "Then what do you want? Our Yi family can satisfy any of your requests." Chu Yi replied calmly, "What I want, your so-called Yi family can't give it to me." Yi Ruxi asked in confusion, "Then what do you want? How do you know that our Yi family can't give it to you?" Chu Yi said mysteriously, "I want to become the strongest." There was a hint of Chu-yi in his tone. At this moment, a group of people wearing bright police uniforms rushed in like tigers. They raised their pistols and stared at the scene in front of them. The atmosphere was tense and solemn. The leading policewoman Lu Yuding frowned and shouted loudly to Yi Ruxi, "Ruxi, come here quickly." Yi Ruxi frowned slightly, and faced Chu Yi and said with embarrassment, "I'm sorry, they misunderstood. I will try my best to explain clearly." Chu Yi nodded, but he didn't expect trouble to come. Yi Ruxi rushed to Lu Yueting's side and explained innocently, "Sister Lu, he is the one who saved me. He drove away those evil people." Officer Lu Yuting said solemnly, "Yi Ruxi, you are too young to understand the dangers of society. If those kidnappers were sent by him to kidnap you, they would then perform a heroic rescue of the beauty in an attempt to gain benefits from your Yi family. Woolen cloth." She turned to Chu Yi and said in a cold tone, "Come with us. Although you are not a kidnapper, you are also suspected of committing a crime." Chu Yi looked at these ignorant people and felt helpless in his heart. He saved people, but was misunderstood as a criminal. "Hey, I just came to this strange world, it's better to understand the situation first." Chu Yi secretly muttered in his heart. As a result, Chu Yi was taken by the police to the interrogation room in the H City Public Security Bureau. In the interrogation room, Chu Yi's hands were tightly restrained by cold handcuffs, standing on a hard chair, silently waiting for the interrogation to begin. Suddenly, a policewoman named Lu Yuting walked into the interrogation room, stared at Chu Yi sharply, and asked, "Please tell me your name." Chu Yi was stunned for a moment, and then replied calmly, "My name is Chu Yi." Lu Yuting raised her eyebrows slightly, and then asked, "Please tell me your gender." Chu Yi took a deep breath and replied without hesitation, I am a man. Lu Yuding nodded slightly and continued to ask, have you ever used a name? Chu Yi's brows wrinkled slightly, and he replied with a hint of confusion, no, my name has always been Chu Yi. Lu Yueting's eyes were as sharp as an eagle, and then asked, please tell me your date of birth. Chu Yi smiled slightly, and then replied hesitantly, well, I'm sorry, I forgot, it was too long ago. Lu Yuding frowned and continued to ask, where do you live now? Chu Yi's eyes wandered for a moment, and then he answered frankly, I live in Spark City now. Lu Yuding nodded slightly, and then asked, please tell me your occupation. Chu Yi smiled slightly, and then replied calmly, currently, I have no job. Lu Yueting's eyes softened slightly, and then asked, what is your education level? Chu Yi coughed slightly, and then replied frankly, I only have a high school education. Lu Yuding smiled slightly and finally asked, please tell me about your family situation. Chu Yi was startled for a moment, and then replied with a warm smile, my wife and I, we depend on each other for life. Later, Lu Yuding continued to ask a series of questions. She stared at Chu Yi sharply, trying to uncover the mystery about him. Show me your ID card. Lu Yueting's voice came coldly, revealing suspicion. Her eyes were full of unquestionable vigilance. Chu Yi shook his head and replied with a wry smile, I didn't. His answer was concise and clear, but it could not dispel Lu Yueting's inner doubts. Lu Yuding frowned and asked, are you a gangster? There was a hint of provocation in her tone that could not be ignored. Chu Yi denied again, I'm not a gangster. And do you think I look like a foreigner? He tried to explain his identity in words, but it seemed to be in vain. Lu Yueting's eyes stayed on Chu Yi's face, and after thinking for a moment, she said, you really don't look like a foreigner. Despite this, she still had doubts about Chu Yi's doubts. There are too many doubts about you. Lu Yuding frowned, with a hint of doubt in her voice, currently I only know your name. As for the Spark City you mentioned, I conducted an investigation and found that this world Spark City does not exist in the world. You are lying. Her tone was full of confidence. Chu Yi shrugged helplessly and spread his hands to express his helplessness. He obviously told the truth, but Lu Yuding has always been skeptical of his honesty. I've said what I need to say. Believe it or not, that's your business. Now, can I leave? There was a hint of helplessness in Chu Yi's voice. Lu Yuding shook her head and said, not yet. There are too many doubts about you and further investigation is needed. Just as her voice fell, suddenly, a cold air hit her neck, causing her body to tremble. She quickly turned her head and found that Chu Yi was already standing beside her, with the god-killing sword in his hand close to her neck. The cold blade made her feel the fragility of life. Chu Yi asked coldly, now, can I leave? Lu Yuding suddenly felt shuddered, and she quickly reminded, I am a policeman. What you do is illegal. She tried to use her identity to stop Chu Yi's actions. Chu Yi was unmoved. There was a trace of indifference and ridicule in his eyes. At the same time, the god-killing sword pressed closer to Lu Yueting's neck, as if it might pierce her skin at any time. HMPH. Chu Yi snorted coldly, not caring about her identity as a police officer, what does it matter? Lu Yuding felt an endless despair welling up in her heart. She understood that if she did not find a solution, her life would be in danger. She clenched her teeth, with a perseverance shining in her eyes, and she said without showing any signs of weakness, Chu Yi, who are you? How dare you act so boldly? Chu Yi said calmly, my identity is not important. What is important is that I saved people and you still want to interrogate me. I feel very dissatisfied, but I will not kill you, I just want to give you a warning. Not everyone can be offended by you. After saying that, Chu Yi disappeared instantly. This turned out to be Chu Yi's primordial origin clone. Disappeared? How is this possible? Lu Yueting's eyes widened and she said in disbelief. She then dialed Yi Ruxi's phone number and said, Ruxi. He disappeared out of thin air. What happened? Yi Ruxi's voice came from the other end of the phone. Lu Yuding told her everything that had just happened. After hearing this, Yi Ruxi said with helplessness in her tone, I've already told you that he is the one who saved me and there is no way he is with the kidnappers. Why don't you believe me? Lu Yuding bit her lips and said sheepishly, I'm just worried that you will be deceived. The social atmosphere is so bad now. As the eldest lady of the Yi family, you must stay vigilant. At this moment, Chu Yi's body was quietly lurking in H City, observing everywhere, but found nothing special. Then he decided to go back to the forest. However, when he returned there and looked around, he found no fluctuations in space. Chu Yi suddenly felt his mind was in confusion, so he entered the chaos bead. In the chaotic world, Chu Yi saw Anna. She was floating cross-legged in the chaos, with a faint light emitting from her whole body, as if she was integrated with the heaven and earth. Anna's long golden hair surrounded her, falling down to her waist like a waterfall, shining with a dazzling light like the sun. Her face is like a finely crafted work of art, exquisitely beautiful. The exquisite curves outline a perfect figure, exuding charming allure. Her skin was as white and delicate as snow, as if it were a perfect work of art carved by time. Anna's body was surrounded by a rich aura, like an invisible air current flowing around her. Every bit of spiritual energy was absorbed into her body, making her cultivation continue to improve and become more concise. This scene relieved Chu Yi's bad mood a lot, and then he couldn't wait to ask around, "Teacher Yuanxi, how can I return to the original world? Please give me some advice." Not long after, Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable's figure gradually emerged, and he said mysteriously, "I already know your situation, and it is not difficult to go back." Chu Yi's eyes lit up, and he asked excitedly, "Teacher, please teach me, what should I do?" Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable smiled lightly and said, "The universe you are currently in is actually a parallel universe of the original universe." Chu Yi was shocked after hearing this. It was indeed a parallel universe. His guess was correct, parallel universe. Does that mean I can travel back and forth? Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable nodded and said, "Yes, as long as you can master a trace of the law of space." Chu Yi felt frustrated for a moment, and he said helplessly, "Teacher Yuanxi, that is the power of law. What's more, it is a powerful law like the law of space. I don't have that much time, please help me." Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable continued to explain patiently, "If you want to go back now, I can immediately open the time and space channel to let you go back." His words revealed his special care for Chu Yi, a disciple. After all, in the prehistoric world, Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable was not a good-tempered being, but he was definitely an extremely protective being towards his apprentices. When Chu Yi heard this, he felt happy and said excitedly, "Is it true?" Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable smiled and said, "But I still recommend that you stay in this universe for a while." Chu Yi was stunned when he heard this, and he couldn't help but asked in confusion, "Teacher Yuanxi, this universe cannot be cultivated, so what's the point of staying here?" Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable explained patiently, "No, this universe can be cultivated, but you can't sense its energy yet. As time goes by, you will gradually integrate into this universe, and then you can truly feel its energy. Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable paused and continued to explain, "And cultivation is not just about improving strength, but also a kind of inner cultivation. In this universe, you can experience various challenges and tests and exercise your willpower. You will learn how to deal with difficulties and setbacks, and how to maintain inner peace and determination. These are also crucial to your cultivation path." "That's it, I understand, Teacher Yuanxi." Chu Yi suddenly realized. Yuanxi Heavenly Venerable nodded with satisfaction, and the ethereal figure disappeared into the void. At this moment, Anna woke up from her practice. The aura of a prehistoric monk burst out from her body, and she had successfully entered the realm and reached the stage of revolving light. Chu Yi said excitedly, "Anna, congratulations. You have finally entered the ranks of ancient monks." His eyes revealed his admiration and pride for Anna. Anna's eyes shone with joy. She jumped into Chu Yi's arms and said happily, "Chu Yi, this is great. I finally succeeded." Her voice was full of excitement and pride. Chu Yi said with a smile, "You are just a practitioner in the Xuanjiao stage, and I have already broken through to the gold core stage. You still need to keep working hard to get further, hee." Anna responded mischievously, "I know, I have practiced the innate 5 elements shield technique, and now my speed is faster than before." Her eyes were shining with pride, as if she was telling her own achievements. After hearing this, Chu Yi was quite satisfied and nodded slightly in agreement. He actually has the ability to fuse the innate 5 elements shield technique with the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, but he knows well that he can't bite off more than he can chew. Therefore, he decided to consider this issue after he became stronger. "Anna, we have now arrived in another universe. This is the legendary parallel universe, Chu Yi said with a solemn face. Anna asked in surprise. In other words, we have come to another world. Then how do we go back? Chu Yi took a deep breath and replied firmly, I have already asked Teacher Yuanxi, he can take us back. That's good, that's good. Anna breathed a sigh of relief, patted her chest gently, and murmured in a low voice with lingering fear. An hour passed, and Chu Yi and Anna finally arrived at the bustling street of H City, where the crowds were surging and bustling. The two walked side by side and couldn't help but attract the attention of pedestrians around them. Anna's beauty is really impossible to ignore, especially since she practiced the 8-9 mysterious skills. Her appearance has become even more stunning. Her moving eyes sparkled with crystal light, like a bright star, which was intoxicating. Her skin was as smooth and delicate as white jade, exuding an enchanting brilliance. Her figure is tall and slender, like an elegant swan, which makes people feel heartbeat involuntarily. Chu Yi, on the other hand, has short black hair and a hint of indifference on his handsome face. His deep eyes exuded a kind of confidence and determination, like a tranquil lake, which made people feel awe. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, revealing a trace of complacency and calmness, making him look extremely attractive. His figure is well proportioned and strong, exuding a masculine aura that makes people's hearts flutter. The two were walking on the street, the aura of youth surrounding them, like a pair of beautiful fairy couples, attracting the attention of people around them, making people involuntarily want to get closer and feel the unique charm of them. Passers-by talked about it one after another, and there was endless lively discussion. A confident man stopped, smacked his lips and said, "It's so beautiful. That woman's figure is so perfect, tisk tisk tisk." A woman with rich makeup next to her couldn't help but said excitedly, "Oh my, that man is so handsome. I have to get his contact information quickly." Her eyes flashed with excitement, and she seemed to have begun to do everything possible to contact Chu. Easy thoughts. Bah, do you think people would like you like this? Stop daydreaming, another woman muttered disdainfully. Anna and Chu Yi walked on the road, talking to each other about their thoughts. Anna smiled and said, "Chu Yi, this world seems very ordinary. Without those terrible alien invasions, I feel great." Chu Yi responded thoughtfully, "You can't take it lightly. Teacher Yuanxi once told me that the way of cultivation in this world can make people strong, which means that there are extremely powerful beings in this world. Moreover, the number of wars in history the traces are shocking. Fighting between various countries has become a familiar norm, and the United States is the culprit." Well, Anna held Chu Yi's hand tightly, with a hint of uneasiness in her eyes. "Chu Yi, what should we do now?" Anna's voice was filled with confusion. Chu Yi took a deep breath and replied in a firm tone, "I think before that, I should set foot in the Japanese country myself." His eyes showed determination. Anna asked in confusion, "Chu Yi, do you want to?" "That's right, it's what you think. It would be good to destroy the Japanese country again." Chu Yi's eyes were sharp, and there was a hint of cold determination in his words. His voice contained a depth of hatred for the past and a desire for future victory. However, just as they were discussing, a middle-aged man with extraordinary temperament suddenly walked out of the crowd, wearing a bright suit, showing his power. He walked up to Chu Yi gracefully, introduced himself with a smile, "I am Yi Lin, the president of Yi Group. Thank you very much for saving my daughter." There was a trace of deep gratitude in his voice. Chu Yi looked at Yi Lin in surprise, not expecting that he could find him. He put away his previous indifference and said politely, "Mr. Yi, I didn't expect you to find me. Saving people is just a simple effort, no need to be polite." There was a hint of humility and calmness in his tone. Yi Lin glanced at Anna next to Chu Yi, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. He asked curiously, "Who is this?" Chu Yi proudly introduced, "This is my dear wife, Anna." There was a sense of confidence and pride in his voice. Yi Lin stared at Anna beside Chu Yi and narrowed his eyes slightly. There was an exclamation in his heart. He didn't expect Chu Yi to marry such a beautiful and charming wife. Yi Lin smiled, with a fleeting look of envy in his eyes, and said, "So it turns out that they are truly a couple born in heaven. I wonder if I can invite you two to my Yi family as my honored guests." There was a hint of emotion in his voice, infused with a touch of warmth and genuine invitation. An hour later, Chu Yi and Anna entered the Yi family mansion, a magnificent villa with great expectations. The luxurious decoration and exquisite furnishings are like a work of art, showing the wealth and status of the Yi family. The huge round table is filled with sumptuous dishes, the aroma is fragrant and mouth-watering. Father and daughter Yi Lin and Yi Ruxi always expressed their gratitude to Chu Yi, with deep gratitude and respect in their eyes. Chu Yi responded with a smile. You really don't need to thank me, it's just a trivial matter. His tone was calm, but he revealed his recognition of this gratitude. However, Yi Lin insisted. No, our Yi family must repay the kindness we have received. His voice was firm and powerful, revealing his persistence in family tradition. With that said, he took out a black card from his hand and slowly handed it to Chu Yi. The texture of the card is smooth and exudes an alluring and mysterious aura. There are 1 billion in this card. This is a small thank you gift from the Yi family. Yi Lin's voice was filled with excitement and respect. In the end, Chu Yi was forced to accept this card, even though he was not very interested in money, because as a high-level superpower user, he did not need to eat. But at the dinner table, Chu Yi and Yi Lin talked endlessly, and kept asking tentative questions about cultivators. As a result, Chu Yi was a little disappointed, and Yi Lin knew nothing about cultivators. Chu Yi frowned slightly and said to Yi Lin, Mr. Yi, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. After saying that, he directly pulled Anna away from the table. Standing in the sky and in the atmosphere, Chu Yi stared at Anna, with a hint of worry in his words. Xiao Na, did you notice just now that when I asked him about his cultivator, he seemed to deliberately hide something? What? L#F equals. Anna nodded slightly, a sharp light flashed in her eyes. Yes, he is obviously unwilling to disclose information about practitioners. Chu Yi sighed, with firm determination on his face. Forget it, no matter what secrets he has, let's prepare to go to Japan. If you think it's bloody, I can go alone. Anna held Chu Yi's hand tightly, her eyes firm and resolute. She said without hesitation, no matter what you do, I will be with you, even if it means killing all the creatures in the universe, even if the road is full of blood and destruction. I love you. A moment later, in the sky above the Japanese country, Chu Yi completely integrated into the primordial origin form, exuding a heart-stopping supernatural aura. Meanwhile, Anna transforms into her demonic form, holding a glowing lightsaber. What was different from before was that the devil horns on her head had disappeared, replaced by a fairy aura, and her posture was elegant and majestic. Chu Yi stared at Anna and said in a serious tone, Anna, if you are in danger, you must retreat immediately. Anna replied without timidity, don't worry. I have become very powerful now and will not encounter danger easily. In the blink of an eye, the two of them rushed towards the Japanese country like lightning. The speed was jaw-dropping, and it seemed that they had arrived in Tokyo, the capital of the Japanese country, in an instant. With a loud noise and smoke filling the air, Chu Yi and Anna landed steadily. Passers-by in the Japanese country exclaimed, Oh my God, what's going on? These two people actually fell from the sky. Could they be gods coming? But how can gods exist in this world? Look at that woman, she's dressed like a cosplayer, and that man is so handsome. While the Japanese people were amazed, Chu Yi and Anna acted quickly. Chu Yi split into 10 primordial origin clones in an instant. Each figure held the god-killing sword in its hand and began to slaughter the Japanese people mercilessly. Their swords flashed with cold light, mercilessly cutting off the lives of their enemies. At the same time, Anna also started her killing spree. Her speed was unbelievable, and every second a dozen Japanese people fell under her lightsaber. Her sword skills were crisscrossing, like a black light cutting through the sky, which was jaw-dropping. When people on the road in Japan saw this scene, they immediately screamed. They realized with horror that these men were out to kill them. Fear kept driving people to flee in all directions, their shouts almost breaking their throats. A desperate Japanese woman begged, I beg you, please don't kill me. A Japanese man with a hoarse voice yelled desperately, Quick, call the police. Another Japanese man shouted loudly, Run quickly, they are a bunch of lunatics. A young Japanese girl screamed, Dad, come and save me. In this chaotic shouting, the sword shadows of Chu Yi and Anna intertwined, and the breath of killing spread in the air. Their existence is like the arrival of the god of death, constantly taking the lives of Japanese soldiers, and a bloody atmosphere envelopes the entire battlefield. The Japanese government finally became aware of the bloody massacre caused by Anna and Chuyi. Where did these two guys come from and dare to go on a killing spree in Tokyo? The mayor of Tokyo was furious, his brows furrowed and anxiety revealed in his tone. Send someone to stop them immediately. Hurry. We can't let this kind of horrific behavior continue. 3 hours later, Chuyi's eyes fell on the young man in front of him, and he couldn't help but jokingly said, "Japanese people, do you want to stop me?" There was a hint of ridicule in his voice, as if the other person was just an insignificant existence. "You are from the Dragon Kingdom. You." The young man was about to speak, but was ruthlessly interrupted by Chuyi. "Okay. Japanese people, I don't need to know your name, just die," Chuyi said in his tone, full of indifference and disdain. Tianju sword intent. Jutian sword slash. Immediately afterwards, Chuyi displayed his amazing sword skills, and a terrifying sword energy condensed in an instant, attacking the young Japanese man like a sharp blade. The Japanese man didn't even have time to react, so he died without any surprise. His expression before death was full of confusion and weakness, as if he didn't understand why he died so tragically. His eyes revealed fear and doubt about the unknown, and he felt helpless about his unfortunate ending. In this way, Chuyi and Anna continued to progress in the massacre of the Japanese country. A bloody scene unfolded around them, and the smell of death filled the air. Chuyi was like a violent beast, killing his enemies mercilessly. Every swing of the sword is accompanied by a flash of light, accurately finding the enemy's vital points and bringing about extremely terrifying death. Anna uses her extremely fast speed to transform into a ghostly killer. It disappeared instantly, leaving only an uncaptured afterimage. When it reappeared, the enemy had fallen into a pool of blood. Their figures danced in a strong battle atmosphere, with the surrounding ruined buildings and burned-out chariots becoming part of their background. The sound of explosions and gunshots intertwined to form a symphony of death. At this moment, the top leaders of Long Kingdom, the three old men, sat together and looked at the big screen in front of them. This was a real-time satellite picture. The old man on the throne was the first to speak, and said in a solemn tone, "I want to hear your opinions on this matter. The behavior of these two people is abnormal. They seem to be killing for the sake of killing, which is really difficult to understand." Another old man echoed, "It is true. Their killing methods are too brutal, especially the man holding a sword in one hand, who seems to be from our Dragon Kingdom. As for the woman, her behavior is also a bit unusual. Could it be that she is?" The last old man interrupted them and said with a smile on his face, "Lao Zhou, Lao Zhong, I think their killing is very good. After all, the Japanese people are not kind people, and in history, they have carried out attacks on our Dragon Kingdom. Brutal massacre." Mr. Zhou, who was sitting on the main seat, pondered for a moment and said cautiously, "I am not saying that it is wrong for them to kill Japanese people. After all, everyone in the Dragon Kingdom longs for the death of Japanese people. But what we must pay attention to are these two: the true purpose of the individual. They have great strength. If they are detrimental to us Dragon Kingdom people, how should we deal with them?" His tone revealed worry and alertness. "Well, what Mr. Zhou said makes sense. I think we should take the initiative to contact these two people in order to understand their true intentions." Mr. Zhang, who was sitting in the second seat, nodded in agreement. "Well, I think this plan is feasible. I will personally send people to contact these two people to learn more about their backgrounds and intentions." The old man sitting at the bottom listened carefully to the discussion between the two and expressed his opinions thoughtfully. Mr. Zhou sat in the main seat, looked at the old man sitting at the bottom with gratitude, and said sincerely, "Thank you for the hard work, Lao Li. I believe you can handle this matter." His tone revealed absolute trust in Lao Li. However, at this moment, the Japanese city of Tokyo was in ruins. Chuyi and Anna almost killed Japanese people on sight. The entire city of Tokyo is shrouded in horrific killings, and the smell of blood fills the air. Their path forward was not smooth, and many Japanese cultivators appeared in the middle trying to stop them. However, Chuyi and Anna were so powerful that they easily defeated the cultivators who came to stop them. Time passed like this minute by minute, and Chuyi and Anna continued to massacre the Japanese people without realizing it. They worked tirelessly and ruthlessly to exterminate the lives of every Japanese people. On the first day, all Japanese people were buried in Tokyo, leaving the city shrouded in the shadow of death. Immediately, wails and wails filled the entire city, making the air dull and cold. The next day, countless practitioners with special skills swarmed in, trying to block the progress of Chuyi and Anna with their own strength. The cultivators, like a tidal wave, intended to surround the two men to express their majesty and determination. At this moment, a group of cultivators were tightly surrounding Chuyi and Anna, like a copper wall. They were fierce and ready to attack, and every look in their eyes revealed their incomparable fighting spirit. You have committed a heinous act and should accept sanctions from the United Nations. One of the middle-aged American women stepped forward. As a leader, she spoke firmly. HMPH. Chuyi snorted coldly and responded without fear, if you want to stop me, I don't mind wiping you all out. The middle-aged American woman licked her lips, stared at Chuyi's face with evil thoughts, and raised an evil smile at the corner of her mouth. Man, if you are willing to be my male favorite and take good care of my body, I can spare you. A mortal. When Chuyi heard this, he was stunned for a moment. He remembered that someone had said similar words to him before. He simply couldn't understand the madness of such a person. You shameless woman, he is my husband, how dare you openly let him become your male favorite? At the same time, Anna was filled with rage when she heard this woman's words. She had never been so angry before. Someone actually tried to steal a man from her. She held the lightsaber tightly in her hand, and rushed towards the beautiful middle-aged American woman without hesitation. The blade of the sword cut through the air, bringing with it a powerful demonic power. Anna's anger seemed to turn into a raging fire, and her voice was full of resentment and repressed anger, piercing people's hearts like a sharp knife. He only belongs to me, you desperate bitch. Go to hell. HMPH. How dare you snatch a man from me? Anna said through gritted teeth. She clenched the sword in her hand, condensing the power of the dark light demon. A sword energy instantly cut through the air. The sword energy was vertical and horizontal, and Anna showed all her strength. The beautiful middle-aged American woman was so frightened by Anna's terrifying aura that she urinated in feces. She begged with a trembling voice, please spare me. Please don't kill me. Don't. However, before the beautiful American woman could finish speaking, Anna had already killed her with one sword. Ah! Her screams stopped abruptly. The surrounding cultivators witnessed this scene and couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. You actually killed her. Their foreheads were covered with cold sweat, and some couldn't help but exclaimed. They all took a step back, full of fear and vigilance towards Anna. You guys should die together. Anna's eyes became fierce and ferocious, and she sneered, her voice full of madness. We are going to fight you. Everyone stood up without flinching and faced this life and death showdown resolutely. Half an hour later, Anna seemed to have transformed into a demon. Countless fallen corpses were scattered around her, arranged in a mess. During this time, Anna had been staying with Chuyi, and was slowly infected by Chuyi's character. Chuyi stared into Anna's eyes and slowly said, your methods are really decisive, leaving no one behind, but this way we will not be able to obtain information. I am very interested in the practitioners of this world. Anna rolled her eyes disdainfully and replied coldly, that American bitch wants you to be her male favorite. As your woman, I must completely eliminate them all. Okay. Chuyi smiled lightly, with an indifferent expression on his face. Actually, it's not a big deal. Someone has said this before, but in the end he was killed by me myself. After Chuyi finished speaking, he glanced around, and then said calmly, let's move on. Right now we have just destroyed the city of Tokyo. It is expected that it will take half a month before we can completely destroy the Japanese country. His voice revealed a determination to kill the Japanese. Anna nodded obediently, with a firm light shining in her eyes, and she said without hesitation, okay, let's destroy the Japanese country together. The killings resumed, and almost no one could stop the two men. Their killings never stopped. In every massacre, their figures shuttled through the bloody wind like lightning, and the breath of death filled the surroundings. The sword energy in their hands pierced the air, and every blow carried the determination to destroy everything. Half a month has passed, and the entire Japanese country has become dead silent. The once bustling city is now in ruins, with corpses piled on the streets, like a purgatory on earth. The earth was soaked with bright red blood, and wreckage was scattered in every corner. Screams and howls echoed in the air, making people feel chilly. At this moment, the Japanese country in the parallel universe announced its demise. Chu-yi smiled and said, "I didn't expect everything to go so smoothly." His eyes flashed with pride. A confident smile appeared on Anna's lips. Of course, although many cultivators tried to stop us on the way, their strength is too weak and there is nothing to worry about. She smiled softly, not hiding her confidence in her own strength. Confidence. Chu-yi frowned slightly, and his heart was full of doubts, but why are these practitioners so weak? And why does teacher Yuanshi want me to stay in this world for a while? Forget it. I don't want to think about it so much, just make peace with it as it comes. Quote. After a long time, Anna and Chu-yi finally returned to the Dragon Kingdom. They bought a spacious villa in H City. After half a month of massacre, the two of them felt a little exhausted. That night, they lay in the spacious bedroom, and the soft bed made them feel very comfortable. Anna said slightly tiredly, this time we can't be like last time. I can't bear it anymore. Xiao Na, I understand, don't worry. Chu-yi's lips curved into a bad smile, and he immediately picked up Anna. Ouch, you bad guy. Anna smiled bitterly and begged for mercy. I told you not to do what you did last time. Don't do it again. Do you want to torture me to death? After an hour. I love you. Anna said softly. Chu-yi also responded affectionately. Xiao Na, I love you too. As soon as Anna finished speaking, she couldn't wait to activate her light attribute ability. Chu-yi was confused by Anna's sudden behavior. He couldn't believe that it was still used in this way. Just as Chu-yi and Anna were immersed in excitement, someone suddenly knocked on the door of the villa, breaking their tranquility. Chu-yi couldn't help but frowned, feeling very irritated by the interruption at this time. Who is this? It's really annoying to knock on the door at this time. Chu-yi muttered dissatisfiedly. He was very annoyed by the knocking on the door at this time. At this moment, Anna was sitting astride Chu-yi's body, her long golden hair falling gently on Chu-yi's face. She also began to complain. I'm really curious, who is so bold and dares to cause trouble and ruin my good deeds at this critical moment? Chu-yi and Anna hurriedly got dressed and quickly walked downstairs to open the door. There was a man and a woman standing at the door. They were well dressed, the man was handsome and the woman was beautiful, giving people a formal feeling. Chu-yi was keenly aware that they exuded the aura of cultivators, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of vigilance in his heart. He narrowed his eyes and asked unkindly, "Who are you?" However, the two of them did not pay attention to Chu-yi's hostile attitude. They smiled and introduced themselves. "Hello, we are members of the National Security Agency. My name is Li Zhuangyan, and her name is Li Yixin." At the same time, Anna was exuding resentment at this time, as if she wanted to overwhelm the entire room. These two people dared to disturb her and Chu-yi's good time. What is the purpose of the National Security Agency? Anna asked coldly. Li Yixin noticed Anna's displeasure and said easily, "Don't be so angry. After all, you two destroyed the entire Japanese country. HMPH. So what, if you can't give a reasonable explanation, you won't be able to leave here." Anna sneered disdainfully. Chu-yi looked at Anna's dissatisfaction and comforted softly. "Anna, stop making trouble, we will have enough time in the future, don't be anxious." Anna bit her lip, followed Chu-yi's words, and stopped being angry at these two people. Chu-yi then asked two people from the National Security Bureau, "I am Chu-yi, what is your purpose in finding me?" "The purpose of our visit is very simple. We just want to understand your attitude towards the Dragon Kingdom. After all, you two destroyed a country." Li Zhuangyan directly stated the purpose of his visit. He paused and continued, "As long as you don't cause harm to Dragon Kingdom, we can meet any of your requirements." Chu-yi understood immediately and said firmly, "Don't worry, I am from the Dragon Kingdom and will never cause any harm to my country. And Anna, she is my wife, I believe she will not have such thoughts." "Yes, I listen to Yi in everything." Anna nodded, indicating that she agreed with Chu-yi's words. Chu-yi stared at Li Zhuangyan closely again, with a hint of indifference in his calm voice, and continued to ask, "You came to me not just for this matter, right? Tell me, What is your real purpose? When Li Zhuangyan heard Chu Yi's question, he felt a chill rising from his back, and a drop of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Li Zhuangyan did not hide anything and said resolutely, Mr. Chu Yi, Mrs. Anna, we sincerely invite you to join the National Security Agency. Wherever Chu Yi is, I'll be there. Anna's eyes flashed with determination, directly expressing her attitude. Chu Yi smiled slightly, with thoughts between his brows, and asked, after joining, what happens next? Li Zhuangyan was a little surprised, and he didn't expect Chu Yi to ask immediately. He took a deep breath and said firmly, our national security agency needs strong people like you to guide new people in their cultivation and protect national security. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.